Hi. They're still here. Get back down here. Hi. They're still here. I can hear myself. Get back down here. Hi. They're still here. I can hear myself. Get back down here. Hi. They're still here. I can hear myself. Get back down here. Infinite feedback loop. Okay. That's over. I forgot to mute one of the streams. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another stream. I'm finally getting around to it. Yeah, I had my streams open in the background, and then I forgot to mute one of them. Rank all the streams. Yeah, let me also go back and look at every single stream I've done and rank them all. No, I don't remember all of them. But hello. So I have a lot of things prepared. A lot of things not prepared, so I'm gonna be making up a bunch of stuff as I go. Here it is. Hopefully this works. If you all can see this. Nightcat where? I did not include Nightcat. I did find a tier list where Nightcat was included. I don't see a reason to rank them because they're literally just an extra skin in arena mode. And I don't think I've ever played them at all. Looks good. All right. I feel like this would be the kind of stream to have a chat overlay, but I don't know how to do that. I'm not gonna spend like 10 minutes setting it up right now. So first of all, you should be here. Here's all the real slug cats. I mean, most of them. I mean, I don't know about this one. But I also have regions, creatures. There's a lot of creatures here, and a few others, but we'll get to those later. Not tolerate Nightcat blasphemy. Just pretend. I mean, I can't even say that they're like the same as the other characters, like Survivor, because they have the same stats as Survivor, but hello everyone who's joining in. So I guess well, maybe I should start with a different one. No. I'll just do this. Hacks into your Twitter account? I was not aware of that. I mean, I don't even have a Twitter account, so I guess I'm fine. It's a little bit annoying to use because you need to like make an account to do anything. So you either have to like find the pre-existing template or like edit one. Like I can add stuff to this. I mean, you can't see that. You can add your own files, but you need to add files to a pre-existing template. You can't make a template and then add stuff to it without having an account. Kind of annoying. I got around that in one of the other ones. I had to add a few things myself. So I guess we'll get started. These are in the order that you are supposed to play them, technically. At least the order that they're in the character selection. I mean, technically, Monk should be back here. But I mean, both Survivor and Monk are like both like characters that you should start with. But Survivor is the first one. I mean, Survivor is the original, so Survivor. I think I'm gonna look. Okay, so I should clarify a little bit. The way that I'm gonna be ranking these is kind of just based on personal preference, but that includes a lot of things. So I'll consider, is this character a good experience the first time you play it? Is it a good experience when you play it like many times over? Like, is it good to replay? Is it good to speedrun? Which I'll weight fairly high because that's kind of what I do. So like I'll be taking speedruns into account, but I won't. That's not like the main thing, right? I'll just kind of bring things up that I think influence this ranking, but it's kind of just based on how much I like them. Survivor is not B tier. Survivor's at least A. Because they're the default character, but they also kind of represent. They kind of just represent Rainworld, right? Before any of the updates, before any of the DLC, it was just Survivor, and Survivor was very good. Base Rainworld. I mean, I think like a few updates made a lot of quality of life improvements. Like the first version of Rain World was kind of strange, but the initial like playthrough of the game as Survivor is very good. I think it's kind of like why we're all here. Like without such a strong base, it would not have grown so much as for Survivor. Yes, let me just there's not enough letters for that. Welcome back. But I don't know if it's S tier. Because, you know, the DLC, you know, I might want to leave room up here for some of the other characters here. Maybe I think A is fine. Survivor is very strong. First time experience is kind of rough. I think we're all aware of that. You know, the first time, I mean, it's kind of a joke that like, you know, like game journalists are very bad at this game, but I think everyone is very bad at this game. How can you get better than Survivor? Some people, you know, some people really like the sense of discovery of like not knowing anything at all. But, you know, that means you're going to be making a lot of mistakes. You're going to be wasting a lot of time. There's a handful of situations that can happen that really make your first playthrough kind of awful. Like if you don't understand how karma works, or karma flowers. Like I think karma flowers are super nice, but only if you even know that they exist. You might just totally miss the karma flower. You might not eat it. You might eat it and then die and then not go back to where you died to pick it back up because that is never explained. But having a karma flower makes the first playthrough way better because as long as you always go back to where you died to get the karma flower back, you don't have to worry about farming karma, right? I mean, that also assumes that you can get back to your karma flower, which, you know, if you died really far away from a shelter, that might be very difficult. You're not very familiar with the map, so you might go to like shaded or drainage, you know, kind of regions that are very rough for new players. But I think it really depends on the player. Like either you really enjoy discovering something and dying a lot, like you don't mind it too much, or you just kind of hate that kind of thing, you know. And Survivor kind of makes you like disinterested in the rest of the game because you get through, you know, you get through outskirts, you get through industrial, and then it's like, oh, this is all the game is, you know, this is all the game is going to be, even though there is more to the game, both, you know, more things to explore and, you know, more skills that you can improve and learn. I think A is fine. Hello, welcome to the stream. You did catch one, but this is not normal Rain World stream. Yeah, I think A is fine. Because like the very beginning can be rough and it puts a lot of people off from playing the game and like exploring everything else that there is. But you know, once you kind of get into it, that first experience of discovering the world is very special. And it kind of defines, you know, what makes Rain World good. Which means that I'm going to rank all of these a little bit lower. Because they're like Gourmand, for example, shares the same world as Survivor. You're not going to be discovering anything new as Gourmand except for like Outer Expanse and, you know, anything related to Gourmand themselves. As for Monk, I actually want to put them here because I think that Monk is very, very similar to Survivor, which isn't a bad thing because you could play either of these as your first playthrough. And I mean, some people would say that because they're so similar, Monk is just like a straight downgrade. Like, why ever play Monk when you can play Survivor? But I like that the option is there. I also like that it kind of changes the way that the world feels, you know? I mean, maybe that kind of goes against the purpose of the game. Like, Survivor is trying to survive against a harsh environment, and then Monk kind of takes that away by making the environment not so harsh. But I think it's nice to be able to explore. I think cycles might be longer. Creatures are less aggressive. Less creatures spawn in general. Karma gate mechanic with Monk. So, you know, for Monk, if you go through Karma gates, you will need the right amount of karma to go through the gate once, but then the gate will stay open permanently. Which honestly, I've never really felt like that made a difference. But I don't think I've ever played Monk when I was like really bad at the game and I needed the assistance, or I didn't want to like go back to a region. I think the idea is that if you enter a difficult region and you die a bunch and lose all your karma, you can leave, you know, without any penalties. You don't need to get your karma back up, which is nice. I usually find that people don't want to leave a region. They want to keep going through it and explore it, even if they keep dying a bunch. Because of the drainage trap. Yeah, and especially, I mean, one thing that's really annoying about Monk is that they don't swim as well. So drainage is like significantly more difficult. I mean, if you're not very good at swimming, it's almost impossible to get from drainage to subterranean. Although you don't really want to take that path anyway. Most players don't end up taking that path. You kind of just avoid drainage altogether. Just take farm raise instead. But another reason Monk is this high is because I really like the speedruns. I think both characters are totally fine to speedrun, but Monk has an easier time dealing with creatures. And creatures are like the biggest elements of RNG in a speedrun. You know, you might do everything right and like have a perfect run going, but if there's like 10 lizards, well, that's an exaggeration. If there's like 4 lizards in one room and you need to get through that room and they want to kill you, like good luck, you know. You either just die or you spend like a few minutes trying to like fight your way through them, or you like just try to rush through them and you'll die to that. Monk has much less of those scenarios just because there's less creatures, and creatures like white lizards will just kind of ignore you. Which, I mean, maybe that's kind of strange because, you know, if your first experience with Rain World is playing Monk, then you don't even really get to interact with white lizards at all because they just ignore you. Whereas, you know, Survivor, you very much interact with white lizards quite a few times, actually. You kind of have to learn how to deal with them. But I don't know. I like that about Monk. I also like the additions in Downpour, the extra things you can explore. Except that applies to both Survivor and Monk, because you can do everything as both characters. I should probably go a little bit faster. I have a lot of different things prepared. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, Hunter. Hunter's interesting. I feel like you have to go out of your way to get attacked by lizards. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, I think like pink lizards and blue lizards are usually aggressive anyway. White lizards are usually super passive. Green lizards usually don't care. You know, it depends on the lizard. I think pink lizards pretty much act the same against Monk. But maybe they're just like a little bit less likely to attack you. So for Hunter's really interesting. I find that a lot of people never play Monk or Hunter, or they play Hunter like last out of all the characters. Hunter's one of the more difficult ones. They have Hunter spawns, which is like red lizards, king vultures, spitter spiders, red centipedes, you know, those kind of creatures. And sign lizards too, and also just like more creatures in general. Hunter's rough, you know. Hunter's very difficult. Plus the time limit, and I think the time limit is the most important thing, because I used to play Hunter casually, just kind of roaming around like doing stuff, you know. But then I would get a mod to get rid of the time limit. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just use the remix settings, but you know, it's still like the intended experience is to have to deal with the time limit. And it's really rough, because if you just want to play a character, you don't want to be stressed out all the time about having to like go fast enough if you're not like used to speedrunning, or if you're not really familiar with the routes. Ooh, we're not Outer Expanse now. There's also the scenario that I really dislike with Hunter, where you're trying to get through a region and you might have enough karma to get through the gates, but then you die, and then you die again, and you die again, and you're at the lowest possible karma. And so you need to just stay in that region for a few cycles, trying to play super safe to get your karma back up. You might die a few more times too, and you just waste a bunch of cycles trying to get through one gate. And wasting cycles usually is not a big deal as any other character, but it is for Hunter, because you just wasted all that time, and you kind of feel like you might as well just restart then, right? If you're trying to do all the objectives, so visiting Pebble, well, yeah, visiting Pebbles, visiting Moon, and then ascending, you want as many cycles as you can get, and if you waste a bunch of cycles trying to karma farm, then it feels like a waste of time. I feel like that really takes Hunter down. But they are a very fun character. They are able to carry a spear on their back, which seems like an underwhelming ability compared to the downforce like guts, but it is actually very strong. Plus, like, having a little bit of extra damage means that you can pretty much fight like any creature in the game, except for like the red creatures, you know. Much more, you're much more capable of that compared to Survivor and Monk. I don't usually play Hunter though. I feel like Hunter is the character that I pick in like expeditions, but I don't usually play Hunter's campaign, and I don't do speedruns either. Maybe I should check out Hunter's speedruns eventually. I should try those out. There's also score runs that you can do as Hunter, which I think is kind of like the intended experience, right? You know, limited time, limited cycles, and then you get points for killing creatures, and you know that's what you try to maximize. Which can be kind of fun, but if the more you try to optimize the score run, the less fun it becomes. At least for me, because every death feels like the run might be over and you have to reset, even if you spent hours on it. Sometimes the creature spawns, I think, are excessive, especially in rooms with, like, several Scion Lizards. You know, when you go from Survivor, where it's like, oh, a bunch of Orange Lizards that are, like, kind of clumsy and, like, weak in terms of stats, but there's a bunch of them, like, okay, that's dangerous, but, you know, it's maybe manageable, or you can just try to avoid it. But for Hunter, it's, like, five Scion Lizards, and it's like, well, good luck. I think I'm gonna leave it at B. And also the rest of the characters are gonna be slightly lower just because it's not the first time experience with Rain World, you know? That's what Survivor and Monk have as a strength. Whereas Hunter, you know, you've probably already played these characters, or like Gourmand or something. So Gourmand. Wreck Gourmand. I probably need to go a little bit faster. I don't know, I have a lot of time though. So Gourmand, you guys know that I don't really like Gourmand. I don't know if Gourmand goes all the way down here though. I'll try to be nice, okay? I mean, maybe my dislike of Gourmand is just because of the speedruns. You have to be Survivor Monk to unlock any other character. Yeah, so that might be like Gourmand or Artificer before you play Hunter. So Gourmand is a very bizarre character. They have like 10 different abilities that are like completely unrelated to each other. Other than like Gourmand is very large, right? And that's the explanation for all the abilities, right? You can fall onto creatures to deal a lot of damage. You can slide into creatures to deal damage. You can roll onto creatures to deal damage. Your slide also is just like very far. It goes very far. What else can I do? They can craft items together. They can eat certain food items together to get more food out of them. You can regurgitate items at random. You know, like how many different random abilities are we gonna have? They also have the food quest, where there's a list of food items that you need to eat, and if you do all that before getting the ending, then you unlock you get a different ending. You know, you unlock subhubs from that too. The food quest is kind of strange because it's like a very video gamey quest. You know, it's like, oh, here's a list of things to complete. You know, it's like a fetch quest. You know. Can't get exhausted yet. So the stamina mechanic is the biggest problem with Gourmand. I mean, the stamina I don't think is bad conceptually. It's just that there's no indication for when you're going to become tired. So you might just be walking around, you might like run into a creature, and then suddenly you become tired out of nowhere. And now you can't run away from the creature and you just die. Climbing poles is awful. you already climb poles slower than other characters, and you can't full fast pole climb, which is kind of, that's only a thing for speedrunners, or if you know how to fast pole climb. But personally, I like fast pole climbing, and I do it all the time whenever I'm able to. And the fact that you already climb slower and you can't fast pole climb, it's like, if you want to go up any room with a lot of poles, it's gonna take like several minutes. At the end of Shaded Citadel, in the speedrun, you actually spend a whole minute just climbing up one room. And it's like, all right, time to just hold up for a minute, and that's all you're doing. And also, I don't think Gourmand is the best introduction to Downpour, because you're already very familiar with the base game world, right? If you've played Survivor and Hunter, maybe. So you know what the world is like, and you play Gourmand, and the world is exactly the same. It takes place in between Survivor and Hunter, so, you're not going to be discovering anything new until you get to Outer Expanse. And Outer Expanse is a very good region. We'll get to it here. I like Outer Expanse. But also, it really annoyed me when I was first playing Gourmand, because I didn't want to explore Outer Expanse as a horribly slow character. At least that was before I learned a lot of movement tech for Gourmand that makes it a little bit more bearable. So it's like, this is a cool region, but I don't want to explore it because it's going to take forever. Right? That's how I felt. Maybe other people don't mind Gourmand as much. I mean, definitely, that's true. Other people don't mind Gourmand as much. But even compared to Survivor, I think that Gourmand it's just annoying to play. They have strengths, but they also have so many different weaknesses. And their strengths, too, also are, like, so all over the place that it, like, sometimes you don't even make use of them. Like, the crafting mechanic, a lot of people don't even know that, like, they did, like, obviously you learn about the crafting in the tutorial, but then you don't even think about you don't even think about crafting from that point on. You can use it in the speedrun to craft a grapple worm. Would it be C if there was no... I personally don't like Gourmand at all. Most of my enjoyment from Gourmand has been trying to fix all the problems. Trying to find movement that is more stamina efficient, or... That's most of it, really. Like, in the speedrun, you craft a grapple worm to make movement easier, and grapple worm movement is exactly the same as Gourmand. And you craft a vulture mask so that you don't need to deal with the vulture or lizards. Without the vulture mask, that speedrun would be horrible, because if you like look at a lizard, you're basically already dead. They have like the mechanic with spear throws. That's another one. Add that to the list of different things that Gourmand has, where if you throw a spear, it's very strong, but you immediately lose all your stamina. Which sounds cool. Against some creatures, it's very effective because you can basically just one-shot them. Any creature that takes more than one spear to kill is kind of hopeless, because you throw a spear at them and then you're stuck for like a few seconds, and they just kill you, right? Or maybe it might stun them long enough for you to recover. You might be able to kill them with like a bunch of slides, but I feel like that always takes forever. If you're used to moving fast, Gourmand is annoying. Yeah, that's part of it. Like, I always want to maximize the amount of movement that I can do. Like, what more can I do to go faster? And for Gourmand, it's like, how can you do less to get tired less often? Like, it's a completely different question. The fact that spears drain your stamina also means that it's harder to use them for movement. So either spear pins or, like ascended slides, hops. Food quest feels like it exists to artificially make the campaign longer. Kind of feel bad for everyone who first plays Downpour and they start with Gourmand and the food quest and they spend like 8 hours on it. Like, maybe it's cool if they enjoy it, but I feel like it'd be better to just move on to the next character rather than spend 8 hours on, in my opinion, like the worst character. I don't know if I want to put Gourmand all the way down here. Maybe I'll look at it. If Gourmand is like, if there's no C tier characters, then maybe I'll move Gourmand up just to be nice. But I'll just keep Gourmand down here. So Artificer is really interesting. They're really good and they're really bad. So, in terms of abilities, I think that if we were just talking about the strengths of the character, Artificer would be up here, because you have a double jump. You can create explosive spheres whenever you want, so you can easily kill large creatures like vultures or green lizards or Mirror birds. You can also create grenades, which are better for dealing with like scavengers, which of course is the main thing that you're going to be doing. You can do a parry, so by doing a explosive jump while holding down, it will do a parry, or like a shockwave effect. I don't know. It stuns all the creatures around you, which is super useful. If a creature is ever chasing you, you can just like press the panic button, and you know, like they're all gone. You know, they can no longer chase you because they're stunned. You can maul creatures by grabbing onto them. I think it's not really effective to use against like lizards, because it usually just like it doesn't stun them for very long. So you might just get grabbed immediately if you try to maul a lizard. It's very effective against smaller creatures like I don't know, like egg bugs, squaketas, lantern mice, wolf spiders. In that case, like if you don't have a spear, you can still kill stuff like that, but it's not very effective against anything larger. Now, problems with Artificer. One of them is their karma. I don't really like the karma system. I think it's a smart idea. It's like, oh, you know, Artie is so consumed with rage that their karma is stuck at the lowest level, which also represents violence, right? And so they must like use scavengers to get through karma gates, which both suggest that scavengers have karma too, because they're intelligent species, if that has anything to do with karma. And it also requires that you kill scavengers, so there's no way to get around that, right? You have to kill scavengers in order to get through karma gates. The problem is, you need to find a scavenger to get that has enough karma, right? And you need to carry the body all the way to the gates. And I feel like that's really annoying when playing casually. Because one thing that I really like doing is just saying, I want to go to this region, and then going there in like 1 or 2 cycles, right? I mean, that's kind of like speedrunning, right? Just picking some destination and seeing how fast I can get there. But for Artie, in every single region, if you want to shelter, you need to stop, go look for a scavenger, and fight them for a while. You might die a few times too. Eventually, you'll get a scavenger and hope that it has enough karma too, and then drag that to the gates, and hope that you don't die on the way there because you can't hold any spears. Weren't guys on the list? They are on the list. They're right here. Also scavengers in general. So before Downpour, I didn't like fighting scavengers, and I still really don't, because it's very volatile. You kill them instantly and they kill you instantly, except sometimes you don't kill them instantly and they get stunned but they don't actually die and they stab you out of nowhere and it kills you. There's never just one scavenger. Yeah, there's always like a whole bunch of them. And they can see you off strain, which is a big problem. Like you might be walking to the edge of the strain and you just get killed by a spear that you couldn't react to at all. I think one thing that makes it a little bit better is that Artie, since Artie has no karma, you know, there's no penalty for dying. You know, so you can just kind of throw yourself at creatures and scavengers and just try to fight them. And it doesn't matter if you die a few times. But when it gets to like the end of Metropolis, I think Metropolis is a cool region, but I wish I didn't have to fight constantly in it, you know. I wish it was more like Outer Expanse, where it's just like a cool place to explore and not like a constant battlefield where you are just dying over and over. Because, you know, it's like, oh, Metropolis, this is such a cool region to explore, and then like an hour later you're like trying to fight the Scav King and you keep dying over and over and over again, or trying to get past the scavenger toll. So I think Artie is lower than this. I don't know. Does it compare to Survivor though? Artie also has some different regions. The past garbage wastes, so they're down here. You can't visit Moon, which is kind of sad. There's also waterfront facility, right? I'll leave it in B. I might move these around a little bit. So Rivulet. I'll just move on to Rivulet. Also, oh, hold up. For speedruns, Artificer is also very rough. I don't think the speedrun is too bad unless you try to optimize it as much as possible, and then it becomes just RNG. Yeah, because of like the last few rooms of Metropolis, trying to get a Vulture Mask if you want to get that. If you don't want to get that, then good luck with the lizards. Gormon is good if you're used to the mechanics. I guess I'm not used to them. I wonder when that's gonna happen. Anyway, Rivulet. I'll put them up here for now. So Rivulet is really fun. They're basically just Survivor, but very fast. Maybe too fast, actually. You can slide pounce very far. You can backflip very far. Your general movement speed and jump height are just like higher than normal. The game does become very easy. One problem that I have with Rivulet is that there's not really any regions that like you take advantage of your movement. I mean, if you do wall pounces, then you can do a lot of stuff in like Chimney. That stuff is really fun, but that's kind of only exclusive to like speedrunners. But all regions usually feel too small for Rivulet, right? Like you do one slide pounce and you're across an entire room, right? You never have room to take advantage of your movement speed. Creatures also, you know, they're very easy to deal with. You can like backflip over like most creatures in the game, or just run away from them in general. But I do like the rain, right? I don't like most of the downpour characters have some sort of strengths and some sort of weakness, and the weakness is usually really annoying, in my opinion. But the downside for Rivulet is that the cycles are really short, but I actually really like that because it encourages you to speedrun. You need to have good knowledge of the game map so that you know like which shelters to go to, in what order, like which one's the closest here that I can get to in like 5 minutes, right? Actually shorter than 5 minutes usually. You don't have much time, so you just need to run. And even if it does rain, you can still make it through a few rooms because you can swim. So I feel like Rivulet's abilities actually really work well together with the campaign. You know, you need to move fast to get to the next shelter before the rain comes, but even if the rain does come, then you can still like try to swim through underwater tunnels. The other actual bad thing about Rivulet is the rot, though. I'm seeing a lot of negative things. Pebbles is rough. The rot is a very interesting region. I feel like it doesn't give you much space, right? I feel like it doesn't really matter what character you're playing, because you have to be very careful, you have to move very slowly, and that kind of means that Rivulet can't go as fast as Rivulet is able to. The rot is a really cool region aesthetically. I'll save that for the regions tier list, my discussion about the rot, but in general, it's kind of just annoying, you know? And especially as Rivulets, where you could go so much faster, but if you go fast, then you're going to run into the rot and die. Submerged Superstructure is better. It's cool that there's a huge, like, aquatic region that Rivulet can explore fully. Like, it feels like the campaign actually fits with the character, you know? In that case, like, oh, huge aquatic region. How about, like, you know, the aquatics look at? I mean, it's pretty obvious, I guess. Following a submarine totally requires extra mobility. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun to be able to, like, backflip and, like, go into space, especially with the refraction cell. And the refraction cell means that the game is a little bit more difficult, a little bit easier, you know? The low gravity can make stuff easier by just jumping over everything. But also you need to carry an item around, so you can't use spears. I find that a lot of people are very pacifist as Rivulet, because there's no reason to fight stuff. But I kind of like that kind of playstyle. You know, you get to... It's more about evading creatures, not about fighting them directly. And then once you have the refraction cell, it's more about trying to keep this item safe and not, like, accidentally throwing it off a cliff. But also, you can't really, like, pick up spears or rocks to defend yourself. But in general, Rivulet is just a fun character. Like, they're fun to move around. I like being able to move fast, especially with the movement tech. Wall pounces are a big thing. So, like, the speedrunner part of me really likes Rivulet. Casually, it's kind of in the middle. But out of all the downpour speedruns, Rivulet, I think, has the best one, because it's all movement and not too many creatures. And it has so much unique movement tech. It actually feels like a unique run compared to, you know, like Survivor, Hunter, Spearmaster, some runs that are like kind of similar. Or anything that goes to the Void Sea, you know, Rivet that has this completely unique journey. And also the story of their campaign is actually very nice. It's like very different for Pebbles to like sacrifice himself for another iterator. I'm gonna keep Riv up here. There could have been a stat edit, maybe. I feel like maybe it feels better to have Rivulet down here, considering all the critiques I have. But like I personally just really enjoy playing Rivulet because they're fast. And you know, as I've said before, I like when things are easy. You know, if a game has an easy and a hard mode, the hard mode is probably more interesting to play because you know it's more challenging, it's more engaging. But the easy mode is like what speedrunners pick because you can, you know, it's not as annoying. You know, easy mode kind of gives you more space to experiment and like challenge yourself instead of the game challenging you. So for a speedrun, even if it's easy, you know, trying to take advantage of Rivulet's movement and doing as much as possible to go really fast, that makes the campaign very difficult. Anyway, maybe I'll move Rivulet down. So Spearmaster. Spearmaster is really interesting because there's like two phases to Spearmaster's campaign. There's before the Pearl and after the Pearl. And before the Pearl, I think Spearmaster is pretty good, like maybe around here. And then once you get the Pearl, it's like down here. Maybe not that far. Spearmaster can be a little bit annoying to get used to because you need to create spears to get food, and you can't reuse them to get food. So sometimes like trying to get food can be very annoying because it's like, do you like use the spears that you have to deal damage, or do you create a new spear, potentially leaving yourself vulnerable? Kept dropping the Pearl. Yeah, the campaign is rough. I think that Spearmaster on their own is like kind of alright. Maybe like slightly worse Hunter. Like, cause you can create spears whenever you want, but you know, you can't have extra spears whenever, and you can't just like use them all at once. Because Hunter could just kill a creature with the extra spear and then eat it. And Spearmaster has to like keep creating new spears, and then you only get like a handful of food pips, whereas Hunter can get like half of the food bar filled just by eating one creature. But Spearmaster does have the extra like food storage, so sometimes you don't even need to eat a lot, and popcorn plants help a lot too. But I feel like Spearmaster should be here just because the campaign is really rough. Like once you get the Pearl, suddenly you can only hold one item, and that one item is usually a spear. But if you throw that, it's kind of like Ormond, you know, once you throw that spear, you're defenseless. You need to go pick up another spear, or use the same spear, which means that it's like it's harder to get food, even more so than before. If you go through Precipice, it's really rough because you need to be good at platforming and avoiding like vultures and slime lizards. If you go through the other routes, good luck in Garbage Waste. You know, it's very difficult. Even the speedrun, which like should be the most optimal route, means that you have to carry a grapple worm and the Pearl, and you have no way to defend yourself at all. I don't know. I'll probably leave Spearmaster down here. But I feel like even in cases where you don't need to carry the Pearl, and it's just about like combat, like if you're doing a score run, I feel like Hunter might still be better than Spearmaster. Plus Hunter can like carry a Vulture Mask. And the extra spears release. Well, you have like 2 spears or a spear and a rock and a Vulture Mask. And you can store things in your stomach. You know, kind of small bonus. That's really annoying as Spearmaster, just not being able to store items, both for the campaign and just casually. If you want to carry pearls around, if you want to carry any item around at all, like good luck as Spearmaster. You're sacrificing one of only 2 inventory slots. Get some more spawns. That kind of makes it even worse. You know, more spawns for a character that isn't as strong means that it's even more difficult. Plus having to carry the Pearl. Sucks until Karmic 10. I find that a lot of people actually totally skip the Echoes as Saint. They're kind of out of the way. you stay mostly on the right side of the map. Like you might get the chimney echo, you might get the wall echo, and that's it. Maybe the spear or the shaded echo if you go over there. Speaking of echoes, haha. I feel like I always have stuff to complain about for Spearmaster. And like, not many strengths, because they're basically just like a slightly weaker hunter. I don't know. I'll leave Spearmaster there. Okay, another thing that I guess I should mention about this about Spearmaster. They are the earliest in the timeline, which means you get to explore Moon. And Moon was a cool region. I enjoyed exploring all of that. Struts region, some people complain about it. I kind of like it. It actually felt like a place where Spearmaster combat was like actually pretty fun. If you don't have the Pearl. Like, that's the thing you have to add on to everything you talk about Spearmaster. Like, oh, it's pretty good if you don't have the Pearl. But also, Moon is very similar to Pebbles, of course. So, you know, once you've explored one iterator, it's like not too exciting to explore another one that is very similar in a lot of ways. A lot of people complain about zero gravity movement, although Spearmaster can mitigate that a little bit by throwing spears to change your momentum. I don't know. I'll leave Spearmaster down there. Saint. Saint is very good. I feel like Saint mostly has good things, except for Rubicon. So Saint, okay, some of Saint's abilities, they have a long tongue that you can use to grapple around, which is just like a grapple worm, but even better. Saint can't throw spears. So combat is very difficult. You can throw like grenades, but you don't throw them very far, so it's very dangerous. You die very easily, so like if a lizard bites you, I think you're very, like much more likely to die to it. It kind of creates this playstyle of trying to evade creatures. It's very much like Rivulets. You sensing a pattern here? The mood is very fun, and when you have like a good space to swing around and take advantage of the grapple, it's like even better than Rivulet's movement in a few cases. I'm surprised you don't have the same complaint about Saint that they're too easy as Rivulet, because I actually think that Saint is one of the easier campaigns, except for its length and Rubicon. Saint feels so slow. I mean, if there's no ceiling to swing across, then yeah, they are slow, but they're still Survivor, and Survivor is pretty fast. I mean, okay, most of the characters are faster than Survivor, except for maybe Gourmand. But, you know, you still have all the movement tech that you can do as Survivor. You can even throw boosts with spears. 100% death from Lizard Bite. Okay, so that is real. Saint doesn't have Rivulet swing speed. I think they're... Yeah, with the Ascension ability. So, okay, I guess I should talk about that too. So, their campaign is about traveling across the entire world, which is completely different, to find all the echoes, which have new dialogue. Like, the Saints campaign is, like, one of the best. Maybe even just better than Survivor's campaign. Because you get to see, like, the entire world, how the entire world has changed over time. Even more so than... Actually, I guess that's another thing I forgot to mention about Rivulet. I like the way the world looks. Even if it's kind of the same environments, like, the way that it looks... more like overcast, it's kind of raining all the time, just a little bit. I really like the vibe of Rivulet. Why is Gourmand so low? I don't like them, that's why. So like Saint has very good environments that you really enjoy exploring, and since you have the ability, you can go like around and explore as much as you want, and you need to explore to get all the echoes. So like that's the whole purpose of the campaign. Once you get all the echoes, you become awakened and you get the ability to fly around and ascend things. It's another song. The Ascension ability kind of feels out of place. Maybe a little bit for Rain World. It kind of feels like a modded character. Because it was. Saints did have the ability to ascend things back in the initial version of the mod that these characters came from. I don't know. I think it's fine because if you like spent the whole campaign not fighting anything, and now you have the ability to fight stuff, and it's like you finally get to kill stuff that may have been killing you for the whole campaign. But then you go from that to Rubicon. Back to the mod, you could kill Pebbles. Yeah. Actually, if in the mod, if you ascended Pebbles and then went to talk to Moon, she has the same dialogue that she does in Downpour for Rivulets once you take out the refraction cell. It's the same dialogue reused from the mod. And then you can ascend her too, I think. But yeah, that's still the thing in Downpour, of course. You can go back and ascend the iterators and you get to talk to them in Rubicon, which is cool. I mean, Rubicon is a cool region. It's just like, I think it's a little bit too big. I don't know why it has multiple routes that you can take, because you end up just getting lost if you take the wrong routes. Because my route up Rubicon was, I think, going up the left side and then going down, or no, going up the right side, going down the left side, and then going back up. Because I didn't realize that I was going the wrong way. Maybe it should have been obvious that the moment I saw Pebbles, I should have gone there to end Rubicon. I'm talking to my YouTube chat. I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. You can probably find a link on Twitch if you want to see what's going on over there. Yeah, I think Rubicon is a little bit too big. Once you get to the depths, you're kind of expecting the game to be over, because that's the end for every other character. But then there's like the biggest region that you have yet to explore, you know? It has a bunch of red creatures. Maybe it's a little bit excessive with the dangerous creatures. I spent a decent amount of time dying repeatedly and feeling kind of frustrated because the shelters are also a little bit hard to find. So you might not even be making much progress. But I think it's a cool region to explore because it's like, oh, I recognize that room. Oh, I recognize that room. Why is it upside down? You know, the very end of the region is very cool because it's no longer like annoying combat. Okay, another reason my experience with Rubicon is very rough is because there's these symbols in the background. If you stand in front of the symbol, your ascension meter refills much faster. I did not know that. The game does not tell you like it does for everything else. But I didn't know that, so for a lot of rooms, I had to just kind of sit there and wait for like a whole minute for the ascension meter to recharge. A little bit annoying. Maybe that's kind of the point of like the arenas. It's like, oh shoot, I'm out of ascension ability. I still don't really have a good name for it. But I can't fly anymore. I have to like survive all these dangerous creatures while I wait for it to recharge. And then you die to a Mirror's Vulture and you have to respawn. But I think because of Saints campaign, it's really high up here. The speedrun is rough, but mostly I feel like for kind of unrelated reasons. Like if the speedrun route was slightly different, it probably would be a lot better. I feel like actually, because of everything I said about Rivulet, Saints should probably be higher. They have really fun movement too, and the campaign is really enjoyable to explore. And I think it's a really good end to Downpour. You know, it's like you've gotten to explore this world several times over, and now it's all like completely changed once again. Except it's at the very end. It's like the very end of the world that you get to see. I really like both these characters. What's the black slick guy at the bottom? Who's this? So I haven't played this character, so maybe I shouldn't rank them. For some people, it's up here. For some people, it's down here. I'm probably more on the down here side. Whoops. Hold up. Is this lined up? Okay, that's better. So I kind of feel offended by this character, because this would not exist had the original developers made Downpour, this is a very big reminder that you're kind of playing a mod, right? And that maybe they weren't taking it too seriously sometimes. It's kind of like a reflection of why Downpour is the way it is, you know? I mean, I guess it's nice that this character exists and that it wasn't a part of all these other campaigns. It could have spread out and made the rest of Downpour worse, but they kept it all confined to this character. Maybe I should be thankful for that. It does not really sound fun to play. Like, it's a funny character. Maybe I don't really think it's that funny. It kind of looks like just a huge mess. That takes away from like the feeling of Rainworld. It feels like you're playing a joke. How much value is lost by not playing it? Yeah, I mean I don't play it, and I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't seem fun to play. Like, there's horrible creatures everywhere. You need to eat a ton of food. Some of the regions kind of look awful, and they look like they would hurt your eyes if you played the game for too long. It has a dating sim. That might be a bad thing. Actually, I think it is a bad thing. I'll leave them down here, just because I haven't played them and I don't want to, and it doesn't look appealing. But I think I'll probably leave it here. I think I'm fine with this ranking. It is a bad thing. It depends on which side of the community you're on. We're in Metropolis now. I don't know. Maybe I could change some of these around. Like maybe Artifice is a little bit higher, or maybe Spearmaster shouldn't be that low. But I feel like I never really enjoy playing Spearmaster. At least the parts of Spearmaster that are unique, you know. I mean, like the overall enjoyment of all of these characters is pretty high because it's Rainworld, except for this one. And that's part of it, right? It's like when playing Gourmand, it's like, man, I could be playing a Survivor and it'd be more enjoyable. That's what I'm always thinking about. And it's not like at least for Spearmaster, it's like, okay, Spearmaster can do some unique stuff here. But why can't I put the pearl in my stomach, right? Why do I have to sacrifice all my hands? Argue that if in wouldn't have been a thing, community would have been in better shape. Maybe. I mean, for you, probably. Yeah, there's definitely a side of the community that is more of a fan of Inv that I am not really a part of. I think this is fine. This is fine for now. Okay. That's it for the Slugcats. Now it's the regions. So there's a lot of regions. If I were to talk about the regions as much as I talk about the Slugcats, we'd be here for another 2 hours. But I'll try to keep this kind of short. Also, for some of these regions, I feel kind of mixed about. Like, I don't really have any strong feelings about them. Like, for, like, industrial, it's like, okay, you know, it's industrial, you know? Anyway, these are ordered in some way. So, start with Outskirts. Outskirts is cool. A little bothered about the connections to farmeries and drainage, although they are actually very convenient. I guess that's kind of a strange thing about rank every sub-region. That would take forever. Outskirts connects to drainage system, which is awful for a lot of people because you get to drainage and then you get stuck there because you can't swim out. If you go to farmways, I mean, actually, it's very difficult to get to farmways. It's a much more difficult region to get to because you need to get past the scavenger toll and you need max karma, and the shelter is quite far away from from it. So if you know what you're doing, it's not too bad. I really like drainage, the connection to drainage, because it's like the best way to get to subterranean in my opinion, and always the route that I take. Like once you're familiar with it, yes, it's good. But if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of rough. But that's drainage. This is outskirts, and I don't know. I like outskirts. It's kind of nostalgic. I spent a lot of time in outskirts when I was first playing the game. It's a fun place to be as like survivor, because it's very chill. There's like a handful of green lizards and like some pink lizards. It's really not that dangerous. You get to, you kind of just get to like wander around. Although, outskirts, I tend to see outskirts a lot when I see people play Rainworld for the first time. It's like, oh, it's like 3 hours into them playing Rainworld and they're still in outskirts. That's unfortunate. I don't know, I like outskirts, but it's not really like amazed by it. I don't like want to go back there too often just to hang out. So maybe I'll leave it in B. Same with industrial, kind of. Industrial is more dangerous. There's blue lizards, there's white lizards, there's vultures. I feel like industrial is like representative of Rainworld. Like this is the most Rainworld region. It's not too gimmicky. It's just like it's very very normal. And very normal Rainworld is very good, but it's not like it doesn't do anything special. Maybe I should put this higher though. The great filter. If you can get past industrial, you're prepared for the rest of the game. Has bioengineering, that's true. I don't know. I don't have like too strong opinions of these regions. I think that if you just want to go to a place to do stuff, that these are like the most neutral options. There's nothing too annoying that you have to deal with. This is drainage system. Drainage system. I really like drainage system, and I guess maybe I should weight that more. How much do I like the region? I feel bad for everyone who gets stuck in drainage system and who doesn't like the region, but I really like that it's a really good shortcut. Although I pretty much only use drainage as a way to get from outskirts to filtration. I never go to garbage wastes. I mean, I guess it's because I don't want to go to garbage wastes. If I wanted to go to garbage wastes, maybe I'd take this route too. But also usually I take the industrial route instead. I probably shouldn't keep this too high. Maybe I'll keep it like down there. Because, well, yeah, sure. I think that's fine. I really like the way that it's a good shortcut if you know what you're doing. And also swimming, yeah, swimming is kind of fun. It's like, it's a skill check, you need to learn how to swim. But once you do, like suddenly this is a really good shortcut. I like that kind of thing. It's only bad if you go through right away, yeah. Garbage waste. I don't go to garbage waste that often. Most of my experiences with the garbage wastes were when I was first playing the game. My route was always outskirts, industrial, garbage, shoreline, right? That was kind of always the way that I went. Garbage waste is your main introduction to scavengers. I feel like actually garbage waste is very, very unique. There's not many regions that feel similar. Maybe like Outer Expanse, kind of. It has some funny music. It has like a unique set of creatures, like semi-aquatic usually. And compared to industrial, it is very different. But I just don't really have a good reason to go to garbage most of the time. I always take shaded instead. I'll leave it there. This is shoreline. I don't know. Shoreline is kind of in the middle too. It's usually when I'm in shoreline, I miss lizards. There's not many lizards in shoreline, and the ones that are there are the salamanders. There's a lot of water. A lot of rooms are repetitive. like half of the rooms in Shoreline or either those like underground tunnels that are like half flooded, or they're just like a full like screen of water, you know, like open ocean, open shoreline, you know. And you know, if you want to get from one side of shoreline to the other, you know, you're just going to be moving very slowly. You can't make use of most of the movement tech that I know as a speedrunner. Say for garbage waste, the environment is so uneven that it's hard to like do slides and stuff. Mostly you're doing like backflips and rolls. There's Moon. Moon is part of Shoreline, which is cool. Moon is cool. You know, for Moon, I'll put it up there. Although it's a little annoying that in order to see Moon, they have to go to the very corner of the world. But I feel like Shoreline is a good place to go. You know, you can go up to Shaded and then from there to a lot of places, mainly Pebbles. You can go down to Subterranean if you know about that path. You can go to Pipe Yard. Remember Pipe Yard? So this is Shaded. I really like Shaded. I don't know if it's S tier, but I like Shaded. It's very scary for new players because you can't see anything, and this makes me kind of sad that a lot of players go here after Industrial and they can't see anything. And it's like, well, good luck. Maybe you know that you could check the map to see the environment, but in that case, you end up spending most of your time just checking the map. You know, look at the map, see where to go, and then look at the map again and just repeat. Do that over and over again, which isn't the best gameplay loop of just using the map to navigate. But you know, once you learn the layouts, it's actually a really easy route that can take. It's not even very dark, and the areas that are dark are usually filled with lantern mice. There is the lower section of Shaded, which is just full of spiders, and I never go there. It's kind of a cool place though. Like, it's not really a path that I would take that often, but it's kind of cool that it exists. Like a really dark, spooky place full of spiders. But I always like moving through Shaded, so I'm just gonna keep it up here. Maybe it shouldn't be that high because it's kind of boring otherwise. But I always enjoy going to Shaded in a speedrun. Memory Crypts too. I should account more for subregions. Memory Crypts. I kind of like Memory Crypts too. It kind of slows down the gameplay because you're waiting for Mirror Spirits, but also Mirror Spirits are like the most fascinating creature to watch run by. They're also very terrifying. It makes you feel like a very weak creature. That it's like, oh, I need to hide underground from these massive mechanical murder birds, you know. And then something like the coast is clear, you need to run to the next safe place before the Mirror Spirits get you. Like that's a very unique experience, and it makes you like actually very scared of this like apex predator. I like that kind of immersion. You know, actually, Shade is gonna go high because of Memory Crypts. This is Exterior. So Exterior is a very interesting region because it is like the leg, underhang, and the wall all combined. And I feel differently about different parts of this region, but I'll have to include it all in one. I like the wall. It is very atmospheric. It has some like the best visuals in the game. Like seeing the background and like seeing how high up you are and all the intruders in the distance. In terms of gameplay, it's a little bit rough because you either have to get through the orb of orange lizards or slime lizards, which can be very difficult. Same with the white lizards. You know, if they're all clumped up in one room, the white lizards can be very difficult to deal with. But honestly, it's not too bad because there's an echo at the very top, which is always there, so you always get a refill of karma. For Underhang, I don't know how to feel about Underhang. I kind of feel neutral about Underhang and Leg. I usually don't like taking that route. I always take the wall route if I want to get to Pebbles. And you're a little bit stuck if you're in like Underhang. Like, why are you over there? You know, the only reason to go over to that part of the world is to go to Pebbles. Or you have to go all the way down to like Shaded. I guess I don't dislike them too much. There's grapple worms, which make for some very unique gameplay. Like having to swing around. It's a very unique atmosphere. Like the fact that you're like right next to Pebbles, but it's like a very like threatening environment. It's all dark and there's like there's lightning all over the place. Maybe I'll leave it here. Like the wall might be S tier, and then like the rest of them are like A or B. So I'll kind of average it out here. Drainage system though, I mean this is drainage system music playing right now, so I guess it has to stay higher. Interesting slump speed into Riv. It's very interesting. It's a very unique movement there. It's also infested with rot, which isn't accounted for in this list. Some infested variations for Reveal It. I think I'll leave it there. This is 5 pebbles. There's, depending on which aspect of pebbles you look at, I feel like you can go in a completely different tier. In terms of gameplay, if you're going from Underhang up into pebbles and then like going up to meet pebbles himself and it's like go to the wall, that route is kind of rough. Zero gravity movements is kind of fun once you get used to it, but very annoying to get used to because you can get stuck all the time. Unfortunate developments. I don't know how to feel about unfortunate developments. It's very cool that that region exists, that you get to see the rot, you know, in that state. But it's also kind of awful to navigate because if you like jump up off screen and there's just a DLO just sitting there, then you just run into them, and you die. You know, it's like, well, you can't change your momentum in zero gravity, so you just run straight into this DLO that you couldn't see and you die. It's a very unique experience, though. I mean, I think that's the strongest part about Pebbles, the fact that you're inside a massive supercomputer, and it's like one of the most unique parts about Rain World as a whole. Like when I think about like what are like the highlights of a Rain World playthrough, like what are the like fascinating areas that you're gonna explore, Pebbles is one of them. You know, Pebbles is like one of those places that you want to get to. Like, yeah, you know, going through outskirts, industrial, and Chimney, like who cares really? But once you go to Pebbles, it's like, whoa, this is unique. This is kind of like one of the more special parts about Rain World. So I think Pebbles has to be kind of high, but it's kind of lowered by gameplay being a little bit dull. The region is huge, by the way. It's actually kind of similar to Rubicon because there's multiple routes that you can take. You can go through Unfortunate Developments. You can go through the middle path, which I don't know as a name. You can go to the very far left path through all like the slug zappers. Yeah, I think I'll keep it there. Like for the aesthetics, for the music, Random Gods is very good. It's like very high. That's carrying most of this. But the rest of it is that the gameplay is a little bit dull. This is Chimney. I like Chimney. It's kind of it kind of has a similar feeling to Industrial and Outskirts. It's like one of those kinds of regions. It's very like very average. Where exactly though? It's very rough in terms of creatures. It's a few rooms that are very difficult. Actually, I find that I spend a lot of time in Chimney, in like casual playthroughs. Like Chimney was like one of the main places to be. If you want to fight vultures, you go to Chimney. If you want to get a grapple worm, you can go to Chimney. If you want to yeah, maybe there's a few too many creatures in lower Chimney, especially for like hunter spawns. Like a lot of them, silent lizards. There's king vultures too. There's spiders. There's scavengers. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know. Maybe it's like here. You always have to go through Chimney and speedruns. If you want to get to Pebbles, you go through Chimney. That is always the path that you take. It's a lot of pole climbing, which means that it's like Sir Gourmand. I really enjoyed the movement in Chimney for Rivulets. That's one of the highlights of that run, actually. Maybe this should be higher. There's also the gutter. I think the gutter is kind of cool. It's unique. It's a connection to drainage. It's the path that you take for Rivulet at the beginning. I don't think it's that practical in other cases. Like, you don't really want to go to drainage system. Unless you're starting a drainage system, which is what Riv does. I can't imagine like being in outskirts and wanting to get the chimney by going through drainage and then the gutter. Like, why not just go through industrial, you know? Yeah, I guess the gutter is kind of more annoying to traverse as any character that isn't Rivulet. I think the real point of the gutter is to go from drainage to chimney, though. Like, the paths downwards are kind of hidden. One of them is, at least. Actually, both of them are, because one of them is kind of just like off screen. You don't really notice easily. Alright, see you. Thanks for stopping by. Also, hello anyone who may have joined recently. I think I'll leave Chimney here. Sky Islands. I kind of like Sky Islands. It might be higher up. Sky Islands. Oh, the chimney has an echo, and I really like that echo because it has an effect on the whole area that gives it an entirely different feeling. I really like that feel of like being at the top of chimney when there's the echo there. Maybe echo or chimney should be higher. For Sky Islands, it's kind of a skill check. There's a lot of difficult platforming in Sky Islands, and most of the time you need a Squidcada. And for a while, it was kind of annoying. It's like, I'm carrying around this pearl or this vulture mask, and I need to drop it because I need a Squidcada to get over this gap. And you can kind of get trapped easily by, like, on one side you need to make this difficult jump, and on the other side you need to make this other difficult jump, and it's like, oh, I guess you're stuck here. But Sky Islands becomes really fun once you have that movement tech down that lets you make those jumps easily. Even something as simple as like a roll pounce with a throw boost usually gets you over most of them. Although one jump is a lot more difficult than the others. It requires like a really well-timed roll pounce. Or you could just try to AI hop over all of them. Sky Islands has a different kind of aesthetic. It's unique, you know. It's very bright and colorful. All the interactions you get to see between creatures. There's a lot of there's like vultures, there's noodleflies, there's orange lizards. I guess orange lizards are like unique to Sky Islands, sort of. For Survivor, you only see them there and in like around pebbles, like exterior, I guess. I like Sky Islands. It's probably better than Industrial. Industrial looks like it's kind of high up with all these regions below it. Well, I guess it has to be here. This is the farm raise. Farm raise, I think, is on the lower side. A lot of farm raise is reindeer. And I guess reindeer is for this tier list. If I have enough time for that tier list. It might take too long considering how many creatures there are. I guess I'll have to go through this faster. Farm raise has wormgrass that you need reindeer to cross. And reindeer don't work. I don't know if I want to rate. I guess I have to include that, right? I never get consistent results with reindeer. And if you're playing casually, it's not too bad. It's like, okay, you can wait just a few extra minutes. You may have to wait for another cycle for a deer to show up at the right time. For speedruns, I never go to farm race. I never want to go to farm race. It's kind of a reason I don't want to do some hunter speedrun. I forget which run it is, but some hunter speedrun uses reindeer, and I feel like that'd be really annoying. And, you know, yeah, even if reindeer worked, where if you wanted one, it would show up immediately and then carry you across, they still move very slowly, and you're just sitting there doing nothing, you know? I think casually, it's kind of a cool experience to like ride this like massive creature over this like pit of worm grass that will try to eat you. Some of the music that plays in those areas is very nice. But if you're trying to go fast, if you like doing movement, then you're just kind of just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah, the right side of it is better. There's kind of this like zigzag path that you take, like you go back and forth, down the region or up it, depending on where you're going. HUD just starts there. And then from there you can go to either Sky Islands or Outskirts. I usually like to go to Sky Islands. Outskirts is very far away. You have to get past the Scavenger Toll, and Outskirts is very difficult as Hunter for some reason. It's probably higher than Garbage though, because I do go to Farm Raise occasionally. But if my goal is to go to Subterranean, I never go to Farm Raise. I just don't want to take that time. The parts of the Farm Raise that don't have reindeer are a lot better though. Like they're not awful. Okay, Subterranean. Subterranean is one of those regions that you actually have to go to. If you're going to Outer Expanse or if you're going to the depths, you need to go to Subterranean first. I like Subterranean. It's kind of like it's kind of similar to like Industrial and Outskirts, but like kind of like up a level, you know. Like it's a little bit more difficult with creatures. There's a few more dangerous ones, like there's spiders, there's centipedes. Farm Raise has to be D rank. I don't want to be too mean. Like I don't completely hate Farm Raise. I mean I do never really go there in a speedrun ever. I guess as like Saints, you can use the Yeek to jump across the Wormgrass, and that's really fun. Like Yeeks are way like imagine Rain World, but instead of reindeer, there were Yeeks the whole time, and that was like the default way that you cross the Wormgrass. That'd be very fun. Although you do have to use movement text to do it consistently, so not very approachable. But Subterranean, I think I like Subterranean. It's kind of huge. Coming in from Shoreline is kind of very difficult, or going to Shoreline. Sometimes you can kind of get stuck because there's not that many shelters. There's most of the shelters are kind of out of the way. So if you want to get out of Subterranean, good luck. I think the best option is to go to Shoreline or to Pipe Yard. You can't really escape from drainage. There's a spot in Subterranean that I always went to tame a lizard, because it has a ton of food and there's a green lizard like right next to the shelter. I really like that location. I don't know, I feel like Subterranean is like a really good place to just hang out before you go to the end of the game. I guess I should also include the subregions. Like this does include depths and filtration. Filtration is kind of annoying. It's kind of claustrophobic, and there's more lizards that will cut you off. For speedruns, it's a little bit annoying because it's kind of RNG. If there's just like a mole lizard in the way, it might get you, and you can't really see. Yeah, the whole ending sequence is like very good for the first time experience, you know, going through the ending. But for the speedruns, the depths is usually the reason I don't do those speedruns too often. The depths is kind of annoying to navigate. It takes forever. It changes the physics of the game, so you need to like relearn movement in depth specifically. But it has a very, very unique atmosphere. You know, it's kind of like another one of those highlights of the game. Like Pebbles is a very unique location for Rain World, and then the depths is the other very unique location. And like the whole Void Sea, it's crazy that stuff is in the game. I'm always surprised by it. Like this random end game has something as crazy as the Void Sea in it. Maybe I should put this higher though. Like here, above Pebbles. I don't know. I might move that. How does Void Fluid taste? That's a great question. I have no idea. Hello, Welcome to the stream. I don't know, maybe subterranean should be higher. Like here. Maybe here. Like right next to industrial. Hey, speaking of Pipe Yard. I mean, well, Pipe Yard is next, and that's the music that's playing here. Pipe Yard is that region. Tastes like Sprite. Pipe Yard is kind of cool, but I feel like I don't really want to go there because like a massive chunk of the region is just like more filtration or more shoreline, you know? Like going through subtunnels is like you're spending like 10 minutes just going through the same rooms. Like just a bunch of underwater tunnels. And then you enter shoreline and it's more underwater tunnels. And you get out of those underwater tunnels, it's more underwater tunnels. And if you go to filtration, it's like more. Here's a filtration room, and here's another filtration room, and here's another filtration room, and now you're in filtration, and here's 2 more filtration rooms. I think I like the top half and like kind of the left side of Pipe Yard. I like the connection from industrial to Sky Islands. I really like that area. I guess it kind of bounces out. Like some parts of it are cool, some parts of it are kind of underwhelming. The room where this place is memorable. Yeah, I like that room. It's like it has like this big pool of water at the bottom, but a bunch of platforms above it. I see, yes. Yeah, you don't need to go to Pipe Yard. It's very optional. It also like takes a lot from other regions. I feel like Outskirts should be higher. But I'm putting a lot of regions in A tier. I don't know. I'll leave Pipe Yard here. This is submerged superstructure. So okay, yeah, these are all the downpour regions now. Submerged. Submerged is cool. It's kind of huge. It's another case of like a massive region. As rivulets, there's like one thing that you need to find, the heart. And if you don't find it, like have fun exploring like a bunch of like empty rooms. Yes, I guess submerged, it only has like one connection. Like it has the connection to shoreline. It has the exit to Bitter Airy, which is included as part of this region, by the way. I like Bitter Airy. It's kind of cool, even though it's really good short. It's a good like look into the future. Yeah, I think it's too big, you know. You spend forever like wandering around like underwater tunnels or in like the above rooms, which kind of all look the same and don't really go anywhere. Just like looking at the region on the map is like just a huge maze. You have no idea where anything goes. It's better once you learn specific routes through the region, but like it's kind of unfortunate that you have to do that. Maybe it's like here. Because some rooms, I really like the like really big underwater rooms where you can actually see very clearly. Like the water is very clear, and it's like the best rooms for like rivulets, where it's like a huge room where you can swim around. There's like maybe a leviathan you need to run away from, or like the aquapedes. And I like Bitter Airy, but it's very large. I don't know. I'll keep it in B. Oh, is this another fitting song? This is Outer Expanse, and there's an Outer Expanse song playing. I like this region. The worst part about it is that you see it first as Gourmand. And it's like, I don't want to explore this region as a character that's not fun to move around as. I like Outer Expanse, and I think it's fair that the region is very large, because there's only really one direction that you're going, right? If you're in Outer Expanse, you're moving to the left, and that's it. And there's different paths that you can take to the left, but they all converge in the same location. And I think it's fitting that the region is very large, because it is very far away from Pebble's facilities, so it feels like this like huge. I mean, Outer Expanse, like that's really the point of the region. The aesthetic is very good. The music is all the music in Outer Expanse is really good. There's the area that connects to Outskirts. Like the path that the survivor falls down in the opening cutscene. That's like a really nice little Easter egg because the music plays. I don't know. I think it's great. Maybe S tier. I really like the introduction of Sunken Pier being this kind of like this kind of dark place, you know, like the music is a little bit scary. There's spiders. It's, you know, it's a strange place to enter, but it's also very like alien, you know. You're like kind of being introduced to a lot of strange things that you haven't seen before because it is outside the facility grounds. But then you enter Outer Expanse and it all opens up and it's like super bright and there's like a bunch of plants that you've never seen before and there's, you know, I really like that kind of reveal. And then the music plays and then there's like these like unique looking buildings. I really like Outer Expanse. It is unfortunate that what is it? What was I literally just about to say? You can't access Outer Expanse as any other character past Monk. So Rivulets and Saint. I really wanted to see what those areas looked like. But I guess it makes sense, you know. You don't want every character to have an Outer Expanse ending, and without the ending, there's no reason to go there. Yeah, I guess that's it. But it's cool that there's also endings for Survivor and Monk if you go there, which makes it kind of redeems the place because you don't need to play Grimond. Anyway, what is this region? Is this waterfront facility or is this past garbage wastes? Wait, where is waterfront facility? I think this is waterfront facility and there's no past garbage wastes. I feel like past garbage wastes does kind of count as another region. Which I don't like. Maybe it'd probably be in the same place. So yeah, this is waterfront, which also is kind of similar to Shoreline. It's very similar. Yeah, I guess they're considered the same region, at least from this list. I don't know. I never feel like I don't feel like I've explored waterfront that much. I never really go there. As Artificer, you just go straight up to Pebbles, and as Fearmaster, you don't need to go there. You don't want to go there because you don't want to touch garbage waste at all, and it takes much longer to get to Moon. So I guess I don't really have much experience with this region. It's kind of like Pipe Yard. But it's cool that they put in the effort to make an entire region look a little bit different just for a new character. I think the main purpose of Waterfront Facility is that it's a place that Artificer can navigate without needing to go underwater too much. It also includes Precipice. I mean, Precipice is also part of Shoreline, but it's kind of broken apart at that point. Precipice is cool. I think it's fine. It's cool that there's a connection from Pebbles all the way down to... It's kind of like Chimney. It's actually a lot like Chimney. We know that. Precipice is a lot like Chimney, and I guess it's not too bad. I don't know, I think I'll leave it here. Or maybe it should probably be lower. I never go here. I very rarely. I don't have much experience with Waterfront. Metropolis. I've been in Metropolis before. It's very cool to be able to see the city, right? Because when you're walking across the wall to go see Pebbles, or after leaving Pebbles, you see this like huge city in the background, where the ancients once lived. Aesthetically, I think it's very good. It's cool that they just like lower parts of Metropolis that look like that resemble pebbles more. It's cool that this region kept surprising me. You know, the more you explore it, there's so many different parts of it. Like you can take a path straight from the beginning to the Scav King, and that's like one path. You can go up the tallest tower. You know, that's a whole like platforming section that I really like, in terms of movement and aesthetics and the echo that you get to see. There's a whole area that kind of looks like filtration. There's a whole area that kind of looks like subterranean. Like, but then scavengers. But then scavengers, you only ever go to this region as Artificer where you're just fighting scavengers the whole time, and you get to the Scav King and it takes you like 100 attempts to kill them, or 1 attempt. For me, it was like 1 attempt. I killed them on my first try, and it was like, well, that's it then. And then on other attempts, you know, it takes like many attempts to kill them because it's kind of random, and fighting a boss is kind of strange. I guess it's kind of like Pebbles, right? Like well, actually very similar to Pebbles, where like the gameplay is kind of rough. I guess actually like the platforming is cool, where it's a place where you could take advantage of Artie's double jump. But then, you know, you're still fighting scavengers. I guess it's not too bad. Maybe I'll put it here. I mostly dislike that there's a lot of scavengers and it's mostly focused on combat, but everything else about it is very good. This is the Rot. This is what I complain about a lot as Rivulet, or when I was talking about Rivulet. This is another, okay, so both of these regions share the fact that there's one item that you need to get, or one place that you need to go to, and good luck finding this one place. This region is huge. It includes parts of Pebbles that aren't really infected by the Rots. It includes areas that are very infected by the Rots. I think aesthetically, it's very interesting to explore an area. Like, wow, look at how destroyed Pebbles is, right? Like, what has happened to you? Those rooms are fascinating to explore, but also, like, you don't want to go there. There's an easier path that you can take to get the Refracting Cell, or just to see Pebbles, and so you never need to go to those areas. Both on like the far right and the far left sides of the region. I guess it should be in the middle, maybe like down here, because I don't like the kind of like platforming where it's like you have to be very slow and careful to like not like run into the walls. Maybe it should be higher. I'll put it next to Submerged. I guess it's better for me than now that I'm like very familiar with the layout of the region. I know how to navigate it easily. The gravity fluctuating can be annoying because you need to learn like multiple ways to do the movement in each room. Okay, a total of 3 times. I've seen other people get stuck here for like most of their playthrough as Riv. Just dying repeatedly, getting lost, not knowing where to go, not finding the Refracting Cell, not finding Pebbles. Hello, welcome to the stream. We're tier listing. I don't know. I guess I'll leave this here. It was very like, considering that this is part of the Rivulet speedrun, it was like kind of discouraged me from trying out the speedrun at all. And I guess I've just kind of gotten used to it. Like, okay, I know how to deal with it. It's not too bad, but I don't really want to like stay in the region for too long. I guess that's part of it. Like, do I want to stay in this region other than just to like get through it? And for this region, I very much just want to get through it. Okay, this is Looks to the Moon. This is what I liked more about Spearmaster's campaign. Although the impact of it is lessened because you've already seen Pebbles. It's probably lower. This is a huge region, by the way. It includes Moon, the entire structure of Moon, and it includes the exterior of Moon, both the wall and the like underhang slash leg section. This is a huge region. I don't mind those other parts. Those like the parts that resemble the wall are kind of cool because they feel slightly different as Spearmaster. I like the underhang section, the struts part. That's actually kind of fun to play through as some Spearmaster if you don't have the pearl. But it's like Pebbles, but again, and I think slightly worse because I don't like the Random Gods song. The song that plays when you get close to Moon, I don't really like it. I think Pebbles, I think Random Gods is way better. So it's probably, well, it might be lower than this actually, because I don't really want to stay in the region either. Like I want to get in and out as soon as possible. Pebbles would be lower if it wasn't for the first time that you explore the region and it's like so unique compared to the rest of the world. This is Undergrowth. Undergrowth is good. I like Undergrowth. It's like drainage, but very different. Yeah. There's a bunch of stowaways. You don't really get to see stowaways anywhere else, but you're very likely to see them as Saint. There's a very okay. The Echo is like one of the best echoes in the game. The one that you see in Undergrowth. Hello, welcome to the stream. Ooh, actually, that maybe you'd realize in Underhang, you need max karma to enter Pebbles, and if you die a lot in Underhang, then you need to karma farm there, and it is very difficult to karma farm there. There's like there's not too much food available, and there's still some dangerous creatures that you have to deal with. You guys like Undergrowth a lot. I guess I don't really have anything to complain about in Undergrowth. It's a very unique. It's like this region. I mean, like the rest of Saint's campaign is kind of regions falling apart, right? They're covered in snow. Like Pebbles has collapsed. You know, everything's going badly. But then Undergrowth is like making it recover. You know, nature is like reclaiming this land. It's very much like Outer Expanse, but like not really where you expected it. I never asked for this. I think the idea behind the Echo is that it was someone who didn't want to ascend. They were attached to the world. They were like not like the most like not like the rest of the not like other ancients, you know. But just because of the culture, like because of the global ascensions, you know, it was kind of expected for everyone to want to ascend, and they all did, like whether they wanted to or not. And this is one of the Echoes that didn't want to ascend, and that's why they became an Echo. And they're like they kind of went against the rest of the ancients' ideas, and that's kind of a big part of Downpour. So I think it's like kind of fitting. I don't really mind traversing Undergrowth. And, you know, S tier is kind of empty. I'll put it up here. Or maybe I should put Skylands up. Yeah, hold up. I'll put Skylands up here. Undergrowth's gonna be at the top of A. So, why don't you recognize the last two? These are for Saints campaign. Same with Undergrowth. I like the linear regions. I think it's fun to speedrun because the environment is constantly changing, and you know you only need to go in one direction. And it's very. I like the aesthetics. I like the music. Yeeks are funny. I wish Outer Expanse had more unique creatures. That's a small complaint about it though. Okay, this is Silent Construct. It's another region that's a little too big. Near the end, this is not the end. There's this tier list left. I don't know. I might not be able to get through this. We'll see. This is the end of the regions though, and I already did the slow cuts. If you want to see this. Silent Construct, I like the feel of the region though. It's a little annoying that a big portion of it is kind of pointless. Like the kind of like the top left side of it is like there's not really reason to go there. Spearmaster should be an S though. I think that's fine. These are all personal preference, you know. I'm taking a lot of things into account, but if I don't enjoy playing the character and I'd rather play another one, then I think it should be in a lower tier. I think that makes sense, right? So Silent Construct I think is like a fascinating region to explore because you see Pebbles change so much throughout the game. Like at Spearmaster, Pebbles has a bit of rot, you know, it's not too bad. Unfortunate Development is reasonable. From Spearmaster to Monk, the rot becomes progressively worse and worse until Rivulet, where suddenly the rot spread like a lot more, and it's like, oh shoot, this region looks awful. Like that is like not quite the peak of the rots, but like definitely up there, you know. The rot has become a lot worse. And then for Saint, we're way past that point. Like the rot is gone completely at this point. It's done its damage, you know. Now the rot can't really support itself either. It's just kind of become this like wasteland, but also like nature is still reclaiming it, you know. There's a little bit of warmth left compared to some surrounding areas, so there's a lot of creatures there. There's centipedes, there's spiders, there's Mirror's birds too, because it crashed on. Technically this does include a little bit of shaded, like there is part of shaded that's in the same region. Yeah, there are a few BLOs left, but it's like way better than what it was before. The blue lizard from the wall managed to survive. Is that the troll lizard? But I feel like it's a region that I actually don't mind like being in. Like it's kind of more like Chimney or Industrial. Like other than like Pebbles, like I want to get out of Pebbles as soon as possible. Like it looks cool. It's like it's a very interesting experience the first time through. But like you don't really want to stick around in Pebbles, right? You don't really want to stick around in like a few of these other regions. Like Silent Construct, I guess I don't really mind being here for a while. It's probably higher up. Maybe like here. Oh, these kind of line up a little bit. Yeah, all the Downpour characters have a unique ending. Even some of the vanilla characters have a new ending added because of Downpour. The Echo location, I actually like the Echo because you get to go through the lake again, and it's like, oh, this area is still standing, but it's your Saints, so you can navigate it very easily, and the Echo effect pretty much takes over the entire area. It is. I don't think I found the Echo easily. It's kind of out of the way. Pebbles is yeah, actually, yeah, meeting Pebbles is very shocking, but also like very expected. It's like, oh, this is what Pebbles is. Yeah. Pacifist parkour, yeah, exactly. I like that about Saint. Okay, Rubicon. Rubicon. I talked a little bit about Rubicon as Saint. I feel like, you know, Saint is a very strong campaign, and then you get to Rubicon, and part of it kind of like runs into a brick wall. Some of your momentum stops a little bit once you get to Rubicon. It's like, oh, this isn't the end. There's still so much more to get through, but I keep dying to these red lizards, and the Guardians take a long time to kill because I ran out of Ascension ability, and I need to sit here and wait for it to recharge. Does Rubicon go all the way down here though? I don't think so. The end of the region is very cool. Well, you only ever go to Rubicon at the very end of a Saint campaign, and at that point your only goal is to get out. You're not like, you can't go from here to another region whenever you want. It's not like, you know, it's like, it's very conclusive. I mean, it is Rubicon. That's kind of the whole point of the region. Except Rubicon and Farm Raise. Maybe it should be next to Farm Raise then. It's very unique though. I mean, actually, okay, one big complaint that I have about Rubicon is that there's no music, like the whole way through, and so it gets to the very end, like it feels so empty. There is threat music. I don't actually. I mean, the threat music is unused, but I don't even really like it that much. It's only used in like one challenge. I guess it's like cool to like see the ending of Rubicon on your first Saint playthrough, but then every other time it's like kind of a drag that you have to get through this. It's kind of like the depths in that case. It's like, it's cool to like go through it, and then it's like, oh, I have to go through Rubicon again, you know? There's no threat theme in Rubicon. It's like very quiet. Like there's just kind of ambience the whole time. Farmer is though. Okay, maybe I should look at this a little bit more. Do I want to change any of these around? Is Shaded really the best? I kind of expected another region to be higher than Shaded. I was like, yeah, Shaded is pretty cool. I guess I'll put it in S tier. I always like going through Shaded though. Like, oh, I need to go to Shoreline. I guess I'll take Shaded. I always like taking that path. The movement is fun. It's very chill. You know, there's not too many dangerous creatures. I kind of like that. The music is good. Is this Shaded music? No, I think that this is Farmer. Okay, I don't recognize this song. I feel like there should be another region above Shaded though. Outer Expanse. I mean, part of Outer Expanse being not at the top is that it's I mean, it's linear. You know, there's only one way to go. You can't really connect between multiple regions. There's not You mainly play it as Gourmand, and I don't like Gourmand. Is Farm Race song? Okay. And also part of it was memory crypts. Outskirts should be higher. I like Outskirts. It just kind of got pushed down by other regions. Chimney, I think Chimney should also be higher, like up here. The drop pebbles. I just find Pebbles so fascinating though. It's like such a unique experience compared to like any other like thing ever, you know, any other like game or movie or whatever. I don't know. Pebbles is such a unique region. It like kind of identifies the Rain World as such a special game. Even if it's maybe not the most fun region to go through several times, it takes a long time too. Garbage waste is the worst. Technically, this also includes past garbage waste. I just never go to garbage waste. I guess there's a few regions here that I never really go to. Like Waterfront. Or Pipe Yard. Yeah, maybe Pipe Yard should be lower. But like, I see garbage waste as like the alternative to shaded. I guess you can kind of see, you know, but like if you're in industrial, and you want to go to Shoreline to see Moon mainly, then you have two options. You have shaded and you have garbage. Garbage is the route that you take if you don't know what you're doing, and then shaded is what you take if you know what you're doing, like if you know the layouts. And so I always take shaded, and I never go here. Like past garbage waste, I think it's a little overwhelming with the creatures and like the acid. And usually, the only reason to go to past garbage waste is if you're Spearmaster and you're going to Moon or going away from Moon to Pebbles. And if you're if you have the Pearl, then it sucks. If you're just Spearmaster normally, it sucks. I remember in a speedrun, the one where I tried to dive to every creature, one of the creatures was in past garbage waste. I was like, all right, I'll just go there real quick. I spent like 5 cycles just like dying over and over again. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not gonna go through this area for the speedrun because I can't do it. Garbage does have like a unique feel to it. Garbage City Shuffle is very good. What would go below it though? Is Rubicon that bad? It's such a cool place at the very end though. And I like the idea of all the like other rooms kind of being distorted. Rubicon or Farm Raised below it? I don't think Farm Raised is that bad either. Like, I don't like the deer. The other areas are like okay. Put them both at D. Never touch farmers because of the deer. Yeah, that's the same way that I am. I don't want to deal with the deer. They're either don't work at all or they just take too long if they do work. You know, I guess like the more that I look at this, I don't really see anything that I want to move around too much. Maybe Shit Chimney should be higher. Yeah, I guess this is it. I mean, I don't know what to do with these regions though. Also, this song is very good. It plays here. Okay, I'm gonna leave this as is. I could keep like shuffling things around. You know, this will be at the bottom for Miros Vultures, okay? That's the reason for that. And I've already spent too much time on regions because there's this to get through. So oops, hold up. That's actually probably a bad idea. Don't mind that. So here's all the creatures in the game. plus Slugcats at the bottom because they were just part of it. I won't be looking at the Slugcats again. We'll just be right here. Just rank them by color. Okay, so we got green, we got kind of close enough to red. We got, oh, there's no blue, I guess we don't have a place for them. Okay, so I'll have to be kind of fast with these rankings. Green Lizard. I kind of don't like that green lizards kind of teach the player that you shouldn't fight because they're very difficult to fight, you know. Every other lizard, I mean, like these lizards are very easy to kill with like a rock and a spear, but then green lizards you can't really kill, so it's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't fight things. But also maybe that's a good lesson to teach new players that you shouldn't bother with fighting stuff, so green lizards are like the appropriate way to do that. I don't know if I'm gonna make any vids about this at all. I don't know. I kind of like green lizards. They're really goofy. They're easy to kill once you learn how to do it, but they're also like not. They look kind of stupid, but then you try to fight them and they're very difficult to kill. Very easy to tame. That's very nice too. I like taming green lizards. They're usually the one that I go for. Okay, you can slow down with the spamming in the chat, please. Just for outskirts. I like green lizards. I like all the lizards. Lizards are a good creature to have as like the default. Pink lizards. I think pink lizards are kind of underwhelming. They're like the most average lizard. They don't have any extra abilities. They're very aggressive. That's a little surprising. I don't know. Pink lizards aren't that special. I don't think. Blue lizard, I feel like they're kind of the same. They're like very easy to kill. Like it takes one spear, maybe two if you're like survivor, but they're actually like very easy to kill. They're much more maneuverable. They can walk on walls. They have a tongue. These are like the default lizards, you know. I don't know. I guess I'll keep them here. White lizard. White lizards probably end the most speedruns. Like if you play Survivor, they always get in the way. They have really long range with their tongue. Is it back? It still says it's dropping. Well, can you guys hear me? Is it the stream? Is it good? It says the bitrate is 0. That might be Twitch though. Oh, is it back? Okay, it says it's back. I think it's fine. Yeah, this thing happens all the time. At least it's not as bad for this stream. White lizards, they always get in the way. They always kill you. But I guess they kind of have cool behavior. The way they like try to ambush you, and it's cool to see them interact with other creatures. I guess they're not too bad. They're just like kind of rough for speedruns. And there's not many ambush predators in the game. Hello, welcome to the stream. Orange lizard. So orange lizard would be up here, but because of downpour, they are lower. I really like orange lizards. I think they're one of the more interesting variations because they're only in a handful of locations, you know. They're in Sky Islands and they're in Exterior, and that's like it. I don't think for like Survivor, I don't think there's any other orange lizards in the game. And it gives those areas a unique feel because there's this type of lizard that you have to deal with that you run into. However, downpour is like, this lizard is cool. Let's spam it everywhere. For rivulets and especially for Saint, you just find orange lizards all over the place, even in places they should not be. Like there's orange lizards in Shoreline for some reason. For Saint, like what are they doing in Shoreline? They can't even swim. Maybe they can swim, but not very well. They kind of get stuck. Um, Helos are fun to fight. They're interesting to fight because they're always in big groups, but it also kind of has some strategy to it because you have to like deal with one at a time and not be in a bad spot. I don't know. I guess I can't put them too low because of Downpour. Because in Survivor they're totally fine. It's not their fault that Downpour kind of overuses them. But I feel like, you know, there's a lot of them. They're in Skylands. They're basically like every single region for Saint. Yeah, Frigid Coast. Or maybe for Rivulet instead. I don't remember. They're somewhere in Shoreline for one of their campaigns. I think well, I'll leave them at like the bottom of 8 here. Mole lizard, as I usually call them, or black lizard. I think I don't actually like them as much. Maybe they're like here. They're interesting, I think, conceptually to fight. The way that you have to like be sneaky and not make any noise. And I always like crawling very closely to a mole lizard, and when they don't notice you, it's cool to like kind of sneak around them. However, in areas where you usually find mole lizards, usually you find like 10 of them. Like Infiltration, you'll enter and there's like 10 mole lizards just like stacked in a big pile. And it's like, well, good luck trying to get past this. Actually, there, that's for mole lizards. There's always too many of them. Maybe they should be lower then. But especially for speedruns, they can just kind of get in the way and ruin your run at the very end. The room in Shaded, yeah. There's one area in Shaded where there's like a single mole lizard, which is kind of inconsequential. In Shaded, there's like 5 of them in a room, and that's a pretty cool room because there's like multiple routes that you can take. You can take the middle route, which is super fast but really open, where you usually run into the mole lizards. You can take the top path, but it's kind of hard to see if you're in the dark. Actually, the whole room is kind of hard to see. I think that room is cool. But yeah, Infiltration, there's just like way too many of them, and they just clump up. It's like kind of awkward. Salamander. I feel like Salamander is very average. Like they could swim, and like that's it. I don't know. I don't have like strong feeling about them. They're basically like a pink lizard, but they can swim. Cyan lizard. I think Cyan goes up here. Cyan is a fascinating creature. They're one of the most fun creatures to watch just like move around. The way they like jump around from, like wall to wall. Sometimes they fall into pits. Sometimes they you know, they make dumb mistakes. Like I like how they make mistakes. You know, they could be a lot smarter and a lot more effective, but it wouldn't be as funny as them kind of like bumbling around, you know. However, Cyans also tend to be overused, I think, especially in the more difficult campaigns. I mean, you're only going to see them in the more difficult campaigns, but there's like a few rooms where there's just like 5 Cyans, and it's like, well, good luck. They are extremely dangerous. They will all group up on you at the same time. I don't really know how you're supposed to fight them. I think in regions where there's less Cyan lizards, they're more interesting. Like Sky Islands, I think, has like a handful of Cyans, but not too many. This is all personal preference. Like in terms of difficulty, this would be a completely different list. I just like, you know, how I feel about the creature. I think Cyans would be higher if they weren't overused in a handful of rooms, but they're very like unique to fights. Like the way that they move and the way that you have to deal with them is unique compared to other lizards. Red lizard. How do I rank this? I feel like I don't really interact with red lizards that often. I usually just run away from them immediately, but I guess it's cool that there's a predator that is actually like very scary, even if you know how to hunt stuff. However, they are unfair. You often die to red lizards in ways that kind of feel unfair when they like jump into the air to grab you. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, the way that you can hit a silent lizard and they like fly around, that's fun. Actually, you know what? I'll do this. I guess green lizard is the best one then. Reds. I think it's cool to have a creature that is like so dangerous that you always try to avoid it no matter what. And sometimes they are annoying, like how strong they are. Like you can't use rocks to stun them. You can't oh, that's a dog. You can't sometimes they move like way faster than you would expect them to. Karma lizards. I don't really like karma lizards. Maybe I'll put them like here. They have like really good reaction time for some reason. Like the moment that you're within line of sight, they start spitting at you, and it's really annoying. They start replacing green lizards in later campaigns, which I don't really like. Green lizards kind of become extinct by the time you get to Saint, which kind of makes me sad. I guess it is cool that there's like some sort of like evolution. I mean, not really, but like you can see how one creature is replaced by another that is more effective. Actually, they're funny when they like jump at you, or they jump in the complete wrong direction. That's kind of funny to watch. Is it buffering again? All right, I think it should be good now. It reconnected. Eel lizards are like underwater white lizards, but they're not as effective at catching you, and you can usually see them because they glow underwater. It did for a bit. Okay. I like their behavior. I like the way they kind of like hide at the bottom of a body of water and they like try to swim up at you to get you. I like that. They also have a very unique design with like the super long tail, other than just being a different color. I mean, most of them have unique designs, elements. Strawberry lizard, here. I really like strawberry lizards. They're super goofy and they're unique to Saint. Although the first one that I found was in Hunter's campaign, because I lineaged a creature. But I love how they use their tongue to grapple around just like Saint. But they're also very small, so you find them hunting bat flies, which is funny. You know, I'll put them up there. I like strawberry lizards. I like the way they move around. Yeah, I think there's like a silent lizard you can kill in industrial and it will turn into a strawberry. There's a few places you can do them. You can do that. Okay, vultures. How do I rank vultures? This was just a lizard tier list, but now we're on to the other creatures. I think that vulture's design is very unique. It's like super alien looking. You know, for a bird, it has like super thin wings and it has like jet propulsion. I mean, not really jet propulsion, but like, you know, they have like a jetpack thing that they use to fly around. They're very shocking. I don't know. I like vultures. I think vultures are cool. I'll put them up there. King vultures, I think actually I'll put them down here because they often are way too dangerous. They just show up and shoot you with like crazy accuracy and you're just dead. They're also like way harder to kill. I mean, I guess that's only natural for harder variants. But most of this is just because they will show up, snipe you out of the air, and then that's it. You're just dead. They have way too good aim. If you were watching the Artificer speedruns, I died to them a lot. King vultures were one of the most dangerous creatures. Actually, I'll put this higher. I wanted had to have an orange lizard lower. I like the interaction where you can take off a mask and then scare away lizards. I think that makes sense. It's pretty cool. It's also kind of like an easy mode, you know. If you want to get a mask, you can deal with lizards a lot easier. You tried to skip ahead. Okay, pole plants. So these are similar creatures. I really like pole plants. Do I? Pole plants are on the tier of like white lizards and dropwigs, where they make you pay attention to something that you never paid attention to before. You know, poles are just poles that you use to climb around, and then you die to a pole plant and you never forget it. You know, you're always like watching out for a pole advance until you forget, and then a pole plant gets you again. I don't really die to them anymore. They aren't really a threat. I really like their design. They're like very creepy looking, but then they like completely conceal themselves and just look like a normal pole. But yeah, eventually they kind of become non-existent. Like you just know you know where the pole plants are and you deal with them and that's it. Maybe they should be lower because you kind of forget about them later. Yeah, vultures will hunt you down if you take off their masks. That's a really cool behavior too. Kelp. Kelp. Kelp might be lower. They're basically pole plants if they weren't stealthy at all, but like way more dangerous. I don't know how to feel about kelp. Maybe they should like be like here. Leeches. So this is red and blue leeches, and then this is the jungle leeches. Leeches, you know, a lot of these creatures I don't really have strong feelings about. I don't know. Here. There's a handful of rooms that are just filled with leeches, and they're basically just like death pits. Like, oh, don't fall into the leech pit. You will die. Although, actually, you know, they're kind of boring. Maybe I should put this one lower, too. They kind of don't do much. They also killed Artie's pup. Jungle leeches are actually even worse because they stick onto you for way longer and then they drain your food. It's like, oh, I have enough food to get to the next shelter, and then you get grabbed by jungle leeches and you suddenly realize that you need more food. Yeah, otherwise they don't really exist. Centipedes. So, okay, centipedes were kind of strange. These are the baby ones. These are any size variation of centipede, from like the young ones to the overgrown ones. Actually, I'm gonna put them up here. I really like how these are like incredibly powerful. They're incredibly... how do I describe this? Most predators struggle to catch baby centipedes because they'll grab them and then immediately get shocked and drop them. I love seeing that all the time. Like lizards and vultures and like any creature really, they'll try to get these centipedes and fail horribly. That's always fun to watch. They're also a really good food source, so yeah, I like them. Large set. Okay, so these are just centipedes in general, which I like. Maybe they're up here too. Because centipedes... they have very unique behavior. The way they kind of crawl around in this like rhythm. They can only see you when you're like moving around a lot. They're a very unique type of creature. Some regions are kind of defined, or some areas in general are just kind of defined by a large presence of centipedes. You know, maybe they're up here. They're also a good source of food. They're like kind of easy to kill because they don't have any like defenses. They can easily hit them with a spear, but they're also like quite strong. They can take a few spears, especially the larger ones. Centipwings. I like centipwings. You know, centipedes in general are pretty cool. Centipwings are maybe less interesting. They kind of are very passive most of the time. They're a little scared looking, but you know, they aren't aggressive for like 14 seconds, if I remember that correctly. So you can usually just run past them and they aren't a problem at all. They have a very... They look cool. They kind of make regions that they're in feel more unique. This is another creature that is a little too common in Downpour, though. You'll see a lot of these in Saints campaign. They're just almost blind. But you can like run into them and they won't care unless you stick around for too long. Red Centipede. It's very much the same as this, where it's like, okay, run away from this creature. What do centipedes eat? We have no idea. It's one of the biggest mysteries in the game. I think just like red lizards, centipedes or red centipedes are the kind of creature that you see and you immediately just run away. Like you don't even bother with fighting this guy. You will die. You will lose. Maybe they're higher. I think they're more engaging. They're more interesting to like run away from. And to try to like run around. I feel like red lizards tend to be more annoying because they spit at you. But then these guys are just like... They're actually very fun to like run away from. I'll put them up here. I'm gonna put these here. They're slightly higher because, I mean, they're basically the same creature, right? But it's cool that they added the detail that they look different in Sky Islands. Aquapede. Aquapede. Maybe like here. Yeah, they're okay. It's a little strange that they're very good at seeing you, and they will chase you down immediately, and you're basically dead. They move very quickly. They're basically like, okay, don't enter the water in this area. Except as rivulets, you'll run into a lot of these as rivulet, but you can actually escape them as rivulets, so I don't think they're too bad. They're actually like easy to, or like possible to escape from. Coalescipede. Coalescipede. I like Coalescipedes. I don't usually see them though. I kind of stay out of the area of shaded where you usually find them. And other than that, they're basically just kind of like background decorations, you know, when there's like not enough of them to be dangerous. Actually, you know what? I'll put them here, or maybe lower than that, like here. I like the interaction where, you know, the more Coalescipedes there are, the more spiders there are, the more dangerous it is. So you kind of see like a huge mass of them like build up over time and then like start hunting stuff. But then they're actually pretty easy to deal with. You just like throw rocks at them. And it kind of gives the lower parts of Shaded this like unique feeling of like, watch out for the massive spiders. Like it's a very unique design. You know, I'll put them higher. Are like pink lizards. But they're the pink lizards of spiders, you know. They're not very interesting. They're kind of like very neutral. Oh, buffer. I found that wolf spiders are actually very bad at killing you. They're very scared. They're more scared of you. And I mean, in like bright areas, in the dark, they're probably more aggressive. I don't know how to feel about spitter spiders because they're a red creature. You know, they're a hunter creature, but they're not as dangerous as the other red creatures. They're much more killable. They only take a few spears, but they're also like very dangerous from a distance because they also have range and decent aim. You know, actually, that's a good. I'll put them up here. They're kind of fun to fight because if you get hit by a dart, it's not over. It's basically just an immediate rush. Like, do you run out of there? Actually, yeah, they should be higher. Like, if you get hit by a dart, you either have to decide that to like get out of there as fast as possible, or to go and kill the spider as quick as possible before you pass out. And they're not too dangerous otherwise. Like, they're not like the biggest threat is the dart, which takes a little bit of time, you know. This is a mother spider. Kind of underwhelming actually. Maybe like here. They're basically a normal. They're pretty much exactly the same as a wolf spider. Like they're actually like not really as bad at all. They're a little bit more annoying though because you can't kill them with a spear because they'll release a bunch of cool escapees. So they're kind of like like an invincible wolf spider. Like you can kill them, but you don't want to. You know, they kind of just get in the way, but they're like also not aggressive to you at all. I should be more critical. Maybe you're like here. I don't know. B tier is kind of very full right now. Dropwigs. Dropwigs kind of change the way that you play the game completely in areas where they're common. Like before you like get used to dealing with dropwigs, you don't think about it at all. But then like once you start dealing with dropwigs more, you're always like looking out for them. And it's like, okay, where are there dropwigs? Where do I need to be careful and watch out for them? Actually, they're like up here. They have a lot of interesting interactions. The way they find a spot to like try to drop on you. They might like carry items around to like act as bait. They have like very interesting behavior. Yeah, usually the bait is actually makes it easier to like notice the dropwig. It's like, oh, there's something on the floor here. I guess a dropwig dropped it here. And sometimes they give you good items too, like you can get an explosive spear or a karma flower from them. Yeah, I think they're good. DLL. So all of these are very similar, but like these are more associated with the garbage waste. I think these are more associated with pebbles or exterior. They're very interesting creatures. They're like not even really creatures. They're just like moving tumors. I'm gonna put these like up here. I think DLOs are kind of interesting to deal with because they're like extremely dangerous and like impossible to fight, but they're also like kind of easy to avoid if you know how. And it becomes like the game becomes this like stealth game of like trying to avoid the DLOs not making too much noise. Actually, they're a little bit lower. In unfortunate developments, they sometimes just kind of get in the way and off screen and you can't react to them and they just kill you. Or in the rots for rivulets, they will kind of reach out a tentacle and like grab you out of nowhere. BLLs I think are less interesting. They don't really do much, right? They're not very good at sensing you. They can't hear, they can't see. They just kind of like blindly feel around for you. I feel like I don't really interact with BLS that much. And then I think these are like exactly the same. It's not S tier. I mean, you don't really see them that often. I guess it's kind of cool that there's like, oh, this is like the strongest variation of a DLO. But they're all like fairly high up because they're like very unique creatures, like very alien looking. You immediately know that they're very dangerous. There's only like 2 of them in the whole game. There's like one. Okay, there's like 3 of them. There's one in like where Unfortunate Development is for Rivulets, another one somewhere else in the structure, and then there's one for Spearmaster in Garbage Wastes. Those are the only places. Leviathan. So Leviathans are very cool. They're like kind of terrifying. Like this massive like monster in the ocean, you know. But it's also not really fun to deal with because you're gonna die, you know. It's gonna get you. It moves faster than you underwater. It takes up a lot of space. It's like dealing with a Leviathan is just kind of waiting for it to leave, or like, you know, that's it. Like that's the only way to deal with them. Just wait for them to leave. Otherwise, you're just dead. But they have like such a fascinating design, like this like massive worm thing with like a hydraulic press mouth. They're very interesting. You should be lower, and maybe you should be like higher, like up here. Like here. Miros bird. I like Miros birds. You only see them in 2 areas, in Subterranean and in Memory Crypts, and a few other downpour places. I like the trying to hide from them. They're very vision based, and they're very big, so they can't fit into small places. So the way to deal with Miros birds is to hide, and while you're hiding, they make like horrible noises of like walking around, the mechanical sounds, the snipping all the time. They're in Metro too, right? You can kill them in Metro. You're Artie. The flashbang is like a way to escape from them, but like that's a unique interaction there between an item and the Miros bird. I like the like tense feeling of like trying to like hide and wait for them to leave, and like every time you're above ground, you're like trying to rush to the next like safe place. Maybe some of these should be a bit lower. How about that? I kind of just put everything behind the lizards. Miros Vulture. I don't like the Miros Vulture. I really don't like them. They're crazy design. You know, they're very good at looking terrifying, and I like the sounds that they make when they're flying around. It's like this thing just like shreds everything apart that like comes into contact with its wings, because they actually just look like knives. But they're very unfair. They will show up out of the sky out of nowhere and just kill you, just like king vultures. But they attack instantly. They will target you over everything else with very high priority. They're kind of like Miros birds, but they attack from every direction and they don't leave you behind. They always wait to get you, so you spend way more time waiting for them to just leave, and they're like impossible to kill. And they make Rubicon awful because there's huge open areas they need to get through, and a Miros Vulture might show up at any moment to just kill you. It's like, well, that's it. That's that. Yeah, all they do is eat slug cats. Wormgrass. So wormgrass is associated with deer. Maybe like here. I mean, I don't mind the wormgrass. Actually, I do mind the wormgrass. I think it's maybe overused in like Outer Expanse and a subterranean. Well, there's not too much in subterranean, but it's either just like a big area where you only are able to use the deer to cross, or they're like inconsequential. Like you just run past them. It's really, I like the interaction with the yeeks where you can use yeeks to cross them, but I feel like that's more of a yeek thing than a wormgrass thing. You know, maybe more things should be lower. Overseer. Overseers are cool. I like when they interact with each other. Actually, they can be really annoying. Sometimes they point you in the wrong direction. As Survivor, they might point you to like Batflies or Shelter, but they're actually like in a way that it tells you to go backwards. It's like you're trying to make forward progress and they're like, hey, go back this way, there's a Shelter, even though it's the one that you stayed at before. Or for Rivulet, the one that tries to help you to find the refaction cell is awful at its job because it always points you in the wrong direction, or it stops pointing you in the right direction when you get closer to it. I never find people actually make it to the refaction cell by following the Overseer. But they're cool. They look interesting. It's cool when there's like a bunch of blue Overseers that all group up on the wall and they like talk to each other. They do make scavengers kill you. Sudcata. I like Sudcata. I think they're like here. They have a lot of interesting interactions. The way they eat Batflies, they eat leeches. I like that interaction where they try to like fish for leeches, but sometimes the leeches get them. I like when they dance around in circles with each other. That's really fun. And they're also really nice for new players to use them to navigate some areas that are a little difficult in terms of platforming. I like the kind of creatures that are just like kind of in the background. They're like just acting interesting. They also are aggressive to you without being lethal. Like they'll bump into you and kind of be annoying, but they don't kill you, you know. I do like Sucadas. Noodle. I really like Noodleflies. I always talk about well, maybe these ones should be lower, like here. I guess this is the more interesting part. Whoever made Rainworld was onto something. Real. I really like Noodleflies. I always bring up Noodleflies as an example of a creature that is like perfect non-predator creature. Because so many creatures in Rainworld try to kill you, but this one doesn't try to kill you initially, right? It's very protective of the small Noodleflies, and then like if you do mess with them, then they like hunt after you. But you see so many interactions with Noodleflies and other creatures. Like any other creature that tries to eat the small Noodleflies, and then the big one tries to like hunt them down, or maybe Noodleflies hunting each other down because they're like territorial or whatever. I think there's a lot of interesting interactions that you see with Noodleflies. Yeah, they make funny sounds too. Garbage worms. They're annoying. They take your spears, and you can't kill them for some reason. If you like accidentally throw anything at them, you're just dead. They will just like, they'll bully you for the rest of the cycle, and maybe several cycles after that too. You can't really escape them once they grab you, or they throw you, like you kind of just hope that they throw you away instead of trying to drown you. They're just annoying. They're just really annoying. It's like, you're taking all my spears, dude. Snails. Snails are a little lower, I think. Maybe like here. I don't know. I feel like they don't really do much. They just kind of pop and that's it. Like you can use them to get past leeches. You can use them to stun creatures, although that usually doesn't work too well. They're kind of annoying when they stun you. They're really annoying against Saint. They're very dangerous. I don't know. I feel like they don't do much. There's like some really interesting movement that you can do where you like jump off of a snail to get a bunch of height, but that's like super situational. Scavengers. Okay, we're at scavengers now. Okay, scavengers are high. Okay, please don't spam the chat more like that. They're okay. Personally, they are frustrating to deal with in speedruns. I always want to befriend the scavengers, but you can't do that in a speedrun. It takes too long. So they just are kind of like a wild card. You know, you don't know how they're gonna act. They might kill you instantly. They might kill you from off screen, or they'll just be chill. I think they're very good in casual playthroughs. They're very fun to like try to be friends with, and it's cool to watch interactions between them and other creatures. But speedruns, man, they're very rough to deal with in speedruns. I haven't really brought up the speedruns too often. But I feel like there's so many deaths to scavengers in speedruns. They have to go just a little bit lower, maybe like here. Pearl should be a speedrun. I mean, one pearl isn't going to make a huge difference. Actually, Scion, you're going lower too. Speedruns. I'm a speedrunner, if you didn't know. If you're just watching the stream for whatever reason. Usually I'm speedrunning this game. I'll leave them here, okay? That's the compromise. Elite scavengers are better at like killing you randomly from off screen, but they also carry around really good items. Like if you want to get an electric spear or a vulture mask, actually, you know what? They're going up here too. They're basically just scavengers, but with better items. So you can kill them and take all their good items for a speedrun very easily. I like that. It's cool to see them like fight other creatures. They're usually more effective than normal scavengers. Chieftain Scavenger or Scab King. So they are like the only boss fight in the game, and it's very volatile because you will die instantly, and it takes a few hits to kill them back. Yeah, Chieftain, I feel like it kind of like stops your momentum in a Artificer run. Like you get to the end and you like die to the Scab King like 10 times in a row, or you kill them instantly. Like I don't know. It feels like whenever you beat the Scab King, it's like an underwhelming victory. Like, oh, they just like kind of sat there and didn't throw any spears at me. Whereas the moment they pick up any spears, you're basically dead instantly because they'll snipe you from halfway across the room. I don't like this boss as much. I'll put them down there. Lantern mice. I think they're cool. I think they're neat. I'll put them here. They don't do too much, but it's cool that there's like a creature that kind of fills out shaded that isn't dangerous. They also let you see. I don't know. They don't do too much, but they're funny. This is a jetfish. I don't like jetfish. They're gonna go here. They bully you. They're like super annoying when you're underwater. You're just trying to swim by, and they just push you around all over the place. They used to be able to push items out of your hands, and that was always awful because you'd like drop a pearl down at the bottom of the ocean. Generic food item. That's one way to look at lantern mice. Usually I don't try to kill them. I mean, if I'm playing Gourmand, then there's no chance for them. But I don't like jetfish because if you're not good at swimming, you need to rely on them to make it through some underwater sections. And in those cases, they're just like deer, where if there's a jetfish, you can get by, but if there isn't, then you can't. You just have to sit there and wait for a jetfish to show up. And that's just kind of boring to just wait for a creature to show up that you rely on to get through this area. But at least you can control them, unlike deer. Grapple worm. I like grapple worm movement, and it makes a few areas in the game very unique. Mostly exterior, where you get to use grapple worms to move around. It's very fun. And you end up using grapple worms in a lot of speedruns. In the Rivulet run, in the Gourmand run, in the Spearmaster run. I like to see them like climb around all over the place. They're kind of funny to watch. I think they're cool. Deer I think are like right next to jetfish. Maybe they're better, but they're very annoying to do. Actually, this is B tier. Hold up, you should go down here. Maybe you should be next to the wormgrass. You know what? What are you doing up here? D tier is looking a little bit empty. Deer would probably be higher if they worked correctly. That definitely hurts them a lot. Use the wiggle tech. Okay, the problem with deer is that they don't show up when you want them to. They take a long time to get to you if they are there in the first place. They like to walk in the wrong direction. You can do the wiggle thing to make them turn around, but sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes they just don't even get up at all. They just sit on the floor for like the whole cycle. They don't want to move at all. Sometimes like if there's multiple deer in the same location, they will just like get stuck on each other for like the whole cycle and they don't want to move the whole time. Wiggling makes them stand up, not in my experience. Sometimes they don't want to move at all. Bat flies. Why are bat flies here? I mean, I guess it makes sense. They feel more like a food item than a creature. I guess there's a few of them here. D for deer. That's a good reasoning. I don't know. Bat flies. They're very normal. They're kind of annoying to catch, but they're you know, they're just like a food item. They're kind of low because if you're speedrunning and you want a consistent source of food, then bat flies are kind of an annoying way to get it. Egg bugs. I like egg bugs. They're like here. No, they're higher. I like them. They're really fun to watch run around, and the moment they get scared of something, they jump super far into the sky. They're very good at jumping, but only to like run away from things. If you control them in Safari mode, one of the buttons is just to like run away very quickly. And they're also a very good source of food, and a good option for taming lizards. Vulture grub or banana slug. I don't know. I guess that's monk. I call these vulture grubs. They don't really exist. They're more of a food item, honestly. And if you want, you can use them to summon vultures, which I guess that's nice to have the option. You know, if you want to fight vultures, this is a consistent way to do it. It's really useful in score runs too, although I don't have much experience with that. But they're not really creatures, you know. They don't really do much. They're more of just like a tool that are just you know, they're there. I'll leave them there. Hazer. I feel like hazers don't exist. Like hazers, like what do they do? You know, they just like sit on the floor and you can eat them. Like they just don't really do anything. And they're super rare too. You would think that they would be in aquatic areas where they can swim around, but they don't. Source of lizard food? I guess I didn't think about that, but I don't usually tame lizards. Here, I'll put them higher than leeches for that, for being lizard food. Okay. Jellyfish are not really a creature. They don't really move around. I'll put them here because they can like shock things, and it's kind of, well, actually that's kind of underwhelming. I'll put them here. They're just food, you know. They don't really do anything. At least like bat flies try to run away from you, and they have like these little nests where they can hide. Neuron fly. I think that they're very unique. They give 5 pebbles and Moon as Spearmaster. They give it a very unique aesthetic of these like flies, of these neurons like flying around all over the place in some rooms. I think they're cool to like watch fly around, but they, you know, they don't really do anything. Actually, I'll put this here, and then I'll put bat flies like here. Carmelos are too high. I'll switch these around. Supers are too low. Big jellyfish. So big jellyfish. They don't really do anything. They're just kind of like an obstacle, less of a creature. I wish the big jellyfish moved around more. So some of them in Submerged move up and down, but that's like kind of it. I don't like how they drop slime mold when you kill them, which doesn't really make sense at all. It suggests that like they are made of slime mold, or slime mold comes from big jellyfish, which I don't really see the association between them at all. It seems like just like a placeholder, like food item. Like it kind of looks like like a jellyfish, right? So I don't really like that. They don't really move around. They're kind of just like an obstacle, you know, like a organic slug zapper, you know. The way they grab you is like very inconsistent. Here, I'll put them here with the other jellyfish. Actually, down here. They're very inconsistent. Sometimes you can just swim past the big jellyfish and you won't get grabbed at all, and sometimes they'll grab you instantly and like shock you to stun you. It's strange. Need some more S tiers? Maybe. Oh, here's an S tier. I really like stowaways. They're super rare, which kind of makes them like a legend in the community. Like, have you seen a stowaway yet? And it's like, no, I've never seen a stowaway, and I've played all the campaigns. Like, some people never encounter them at all, but then if you do encounter one, naturally, then it's a very interesting experience because it's very surprising. This like creature trying to grab you from the ceiling. I mean, not a completely original idea, but I really like the being able to like find stowaways and like know their locations, and it's like, hey, do you see the stowaway on the ceiling? I kind of wish they were more common, or it was more likely for them to be active, because most of the time they don't do anything on the ceiling, which is honestly the most underwhelming part. But then when you do see them, or when you do activate them, it's like I guess that's part of the appeal, that they are so rare. Where do you find them? They are there's a bunch of undergrowth, as saying. There's some in Subterranean. There's one in Sunken Pier, or maybe more than one. It's one in the gutter, but also it depends on which campaign you're on. Mostly you'll find them in those kind of areas, like kind of next to what's it called? Subterranean. There's also some in Pipe Yard. Inspectors. So here's the last few creatures down here. Inspectors, they're cool. They don't do too much. I guess it's a nice addition to the iterators, where there weren't really any creatures. But they're very passive. I'll put them here. It's cool that they like try to protect neuron flies. You can't really fight them easily. I mean, you don't really want to fight them. Yeeks. So Yeeks. So this is, you may be aware of the Yeekfix mod, which is kind of like the official, sort of official what Yeeks should have been. What we haven't said is these, which are still funny. I like Yeeks. They're like grapple worms, where I really like how you can use them for mobility. As Gourmand, which you can use to like crush things very easily by jumping high. You can use them as rivulets to do some funny stuff with Wormgrass, but they're also very practical as Saints, where you can use them to cross Wormgrass instead of using the deer, which is very nice for the speedrun. They're very funny. Scavengers hunt them. Yeah, I think Yeeks are good. But they're also kind of stupid. they're not very effective creatures, you know? They're more like grapple worms. So that may be a little bit more interesting. Hello. Slug pups. I don't usually get slug pups. I haven't like interacted with a slug pup in a long time. You don't see them in speedruns. I haven't like done casual playthroughs as the characters where slug pups can spawn. But they're funny. They are little slug cats. I don't know. I don't have enough experience with them. And usually you just kind of hold them on your, I mean, personally, the way that I kept slug cats or slug pups is just to give them on your back and never really deal with them at all. And you need to give them extra food, and that's kind of it. Yeah, pups are not really anything to do with speedruns. It's cool that they're in the game though. I'll keep them there. Firebug. Okay, you know what? I really like these guys. They're one of my favorite creatures, but you never interact with them. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if they should be an S tier because you never ever interact with them. They're only in Rubicon for Saint when you're awakened, and when you're awakened, you can just ascend them, and they just die instantly, and that's it. Otherwise, they're passive. Put Survivor. Okay. I already did this. If you want to see the slug cats. But they have very interesting behavior in challenges, in challenge mode mainly. They're like passive, but then the moment you touch them, they're like super aggressive and they hunt you down. But that was like a really fun challenge where you have to like figure out how they work. And they drop a bunch of like extremely powerful weapons for some reason. They're always fun to see in randomizers, which I probably shouldn't take into account for this tier list. But it's like, oh, you get a really good weapon, but you have to defeat this really dangerous creature. I don't know. I'll put them lower than this though. Maybe here. The only problem is that they only show up where you can't even interact with them, but otherwise I really like them. This is the Jimmy threat thing. Firebugs can obliterate red lizards. I haven't seen a firebug interact with any other creature. But yeah, they're super dangerous. Maybe they would be effective against the red lizard. I think they're cool. I had a decently strong reaction to discovering that this Hunter Longlegs existed. It's like, oh shoot, that's kind of horrible for Hunter. This is more of like a lore thing, less than an actual creature, because it's basically just like a weaker BLL. But it's very bizarre. It's very interesting that it reacts to what you've done on your save file. You know, if you lose a Hunter run, you will see a Hunter Longlegs. Strawberry Lizard in D tier? No. They're funny. But they aren't really an interesting creature. They're just like more of an interesting lore thing where it's like, oh, this is what Hunter became after the campaign if you don't ascend. Iterators. How do I rank these? How to rank any? Okay, Guardian. I can rank a Guardian. Um, they're cool. Maybe like here. They don't really do much, but they have a very interesting design. And it's funny how they kill you by smacking you into the floor several times. Hunter, we don't know what happened to Hunter. It depends on what you do on your save file. Like if you ascend, you don't see them, but if you die and you don't be able to ascend, then you see this. But I think it's kind of like canon. Like in canon, it's like kind of unclear. Oh yeah, the Guardians. Or in Rubicon. There's some. There's. S tier for both of them. Well, actually, the Guardians in Saints are less good. I'll put them lower because of that. They're kind of annoying to fight. How are jellyfish so low? Because they don't do anything. They're not even really creatures. They just kind of sit there and you can eat them. Okay, I'll put them very high. Why is Blue Leech so low? What did I do? Not put them in S tier? Or is it because of the order that I put them in? Echoes should be higher. Well, okay. You all can be up there, but these don't really count as like creatures. But these are all like very important parts of the Rain World experience. Very like memorable encounters with these things. I think echoes are one of the most fascinating parts of Rain World. The fact that there's like some ancients that are trapped and they're just kind of stuck here forever. They have a very interesting design. They have an impact on the entire environment around them. They have interesting dialogue. Blue Leech is an important encounter. And echoes all have unique music. Voidworm, also not really a creature, but they're cool, I guess. You mean the stowaway? I think the stowaway is fine. Okay, I guess that's the end. I already ranked these guys. So if you want to see the whole thing. Seems to be a controversial list. I could definitely move a lot of things around. If I spent a lot more time on this. I like stowaways. Why Mirror Vultures are ranked so lowly? Because they're very unfair. They specifically target the player, Slowcat, in most scenarios, and they're very good at killing you very quickly without any reaction. For like Mirror Spirits, you can see them coming, and they're usually in big groups, and there's pretty much always like a good place to hide when there's Mirror Spirits around. And yet, Mirror Vultures kind of show up in like a huge open area where you might just have nowhere to hide, and they will swoop down and kill you instantly in like that you know, you can't really, there's no counterplay involved. Have I done regions? Yes. This is the regions. Red lizards? I guess they are kind of low. I feel like you can't really have many interactions with like such dangerous creatures because it's, you pretty much always, the best option is always just to run away from them. I also don't like the design. I mean, it's a cool looking design, but also it's kind of just a vulture combined with a Murosbird. Like, they didn't really make anything unique. It's also one of the earliest creatures created for Downpour, at least as far as I'm aware. Like, oh, I'm not very good at making creatures, so I guess I'm just gonna combine two existing creatures together, and that's kind of what this is. And it somehow ended up in the DLC. Sure, I guess this is fine. I guess strawberry lizards are the best. Actually, no. Noodleflies. I always bring up noodleflies. That's the kind of creature that I like in this game. And I only ever interact with strawberry lizards. Yeah, actually, I don't remember the last time I've seen a strawberry lizard, but I know that they're funny. I like that they're one of the creatures added to Downpour that actually has some unique behavior. The fact that they are like the smallest lizards, so they eat bat flies, and they have unique movement. Okay, I have other tier lists. Bam. Does this work correctly? Yeah, it does. This is weapons. We're still going. I did say everything. Well, the title said it. I had these ordered nicely, so I'm gonna put them back in that order. Because the browser reset. Okay, so these are weapons. I've seen a few weapon tier lists that I disagreed with, so I decided to try this too. Rocks are super good. Rocks are like one of the most, I mean, okay, rocks and spears are like, honestly, S tier, because they're super common and they're super effective. You know, every other item is more situational, where you, well, either more situational or like way harder to get. And these, you always get them, and they're like very effective if you know how to use them. Yeah, bread and butter. I'd say rocks are lower because against some creatures they're basically completely ineffective. Like, they're super good against like lizards, and then like some creatures don't care about rocks at all. Like centipedes don't care, vultures don't care. But against lizards, like, rocks are like almost more important than spears are. They're also really nice in speedruns because you can just throw a rock at something and stun it for a while to get past them. And also, I know this is weapons, but for speedrunning, for movements, these are like the easiest items to get for throw boosting. Doing extended slides, EI hops, you're always going to be able to get some rocks and spears. Like, you wouldn't want to do some of that movement with these other items. So explosive spear, very hard to get consistently unless you're artificer. Except that's more of an artificer ability and less of a explosive spear ability. You're very rarely going to get one of these, but when you do get one, it's kind of a pain to carry around because you want to save it for something important, right? Like, oh, I'm going to keep the explosive spear until I run to like a green lizard or a vulture or, you know, something that I can use this on. But then, like, you can't carry an extra spear while you're holding onto the explosive spear. So you don't want to throw it at like a weaker creature. Like, why throw an explosive spear at a blue lizard, you know, when you could just throw a normal spear and it would be just as effective. Yeah, they're really good for Hunter, because you can carry a spear and then you get an easy kill on something really big. But they're like the easiest way to deal a lot of damage to a creature. Like, if you want to kill a vulture, a green lizard, a mirror spur, a large centipede, like, this is the easiest way to do it. Saving an explosive spear for 3 seconds just to use it on a dropwing, yeah. And like, if you get grabbed by a creature and you try to use this to release yourself, you just blow yourself up. I think these are actually, okay, they're not really a great weapon, but they're very useful if you get one. You know, if you're in a room and you can pick up a cherry bomb, you might as well throw it if there's like lizards trying to get you, and you'll be safe for a while. You can also use them to save yourself from centipedes. But like, I never carry around one. Like, I'll only use one if I pick it up right where I want to use it, you know? Otherwise, you know, you don't want to carry one of these around. A bomb, I feel like, is more dangerous to yourself and also doesn't really deal that much damage. Like, this is almost more effective at stunning creatures than actually like killing them, because unless you like land a direct hit, it doesn't actually do that much damage. They're also like uncommon, just like the explosive spear. I don't know. I feel like using bombs is actually usually a bad idea unless you're Artificer, in which case, like, that's an Artificer thing. Only effective against scavengers. Yeah, they're really nice for scavengers because they can hit a large group of them and also detonate all of their explosives that they're carrying. Grenades are super dangerous against you if a scavenger throws one, or not even at you, just in general, because then it'll kind of cause a chain reaction of chaos. But I find that I don't usually find bombs, and if I do, I don't want to carry them around. Flashbangs are actually like surprisingly useful in the areas where you find them. They immediately, like, basically instantly kill all the spiders in a room. They let you get past mirror spirits. They're basically like the same as cherry bombs, but probably more effective because they actually kill spiders instead of just like scaring them away. But they're situational. They don't affect some creatures at all, and they're only in a few areas. Spore puffs are associated with deer, so that's already a negative. You know, they're a hard counter. Against some creatures, they're extremely effective. Against others, they do nothing. And they're only in like one area in the game, so they're like kind of too situational, but also so effective. If you want to kill a centipede, actually, you know, they should probably be lower. Like, centipedes, I feel like the only thing that you'd want to use them against. If you want to kill a red centipede, this is the easiest option. Otherwise, they're not very useful. This, okay, has anyone ever used this and like had any success from it? First of all, you need to either get one from a scavenger or use a spore puff on one to pacify it so that you can carry it around. And yeah, they usually backfire. They just kind of slow you down more than they affect other creatures. And then it doesn't even like stun creatures very well. It just kind of keeps them in place, but they can still kind of like move around a bit, so you can't really line up a good hit, like a spear throw against them. For the stupid glitch, I still don't really know what B glitch is useful for. Okay, this, I feel like it has to be kind of low, because are you ever gonna use these spears? If you get a fire spear outside of Rubicon, they're like the most powerful weapon. They're like, they're basically just spears, but better by a lot. But that doesn't happen. You know, you only can get them as Saint in an area where you literally have the ability to instantly kill whatever you want. So, you know, are you really gonna be using these? Also, I noticed that 2 items are missing from this list. Okay, electric spears are actually practical. They're actually probably better than explosive spears. These are pretty much a free kill against most creatures, just like an electric spear, except, you know, they cost, you have to throw them several times, but they'll keep them stunned for so long. They're basically a guaranteed kill. Like this against a vulture is very easy. You could actually use it to kill red lizards very easily, whereas they're resistant to explosive spears. You can, if you miss and they hit a wall, you can still get the spear back. The only problem is that they're hard to get, just like explosive spears. Even harder, actually, because they don't spawn naturally. You pretty much only get them from elite scavengers or from maybe other places. Actually, they should probably be lower. They're just so hard to get. And if the charge runs, I mean, I guess it's actually probably better than explosive spear because you might actually be able to use it against multiple creatures as opposed to just a single one. If I have the explosive spear up here, I should probably have this higher. You can also get them from treasures. Okay. Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't usually get one, but if I do go and I want to keep it for a while. Because it does last for a lot longer than an explosive spear. Okay, singularity bomb. I made a video about this. It's very funny to kill an entire room at once. But it is also very easy to kill too. Like, if you are also in the room, you may be included. They're extremely situational, or extremely hard to get. Because you either get very lucky or you're gourmand. And if you're gourmand, that's already unfortunate, but I don't know, maybe they'll be here. You can use them to skip guardians, which is good for the any percent run. I guess in expeditions, I should consider those. This is like a free kill against a difficult creature. You know, against like a Mirror's Vulture or a DLL. Cheese Atom, yeah. But it's just like way too hard to get. But it's like super effective at what it can do. This gun is very disappointing. It's actually not very effective. Like what ammo is actually best for the gun? Like rocks just make it do a lot of knockback, but they don't do any damage. Like most of these items, if loaded into the gun, are pretty much just the same as if you were to throw them yourself, right? I guess the only benefit is that you can carry multiple. Rock or Cherry Bomb. Yeah, I guess Cherry Bomb is nice if you want to scare creatures away. But I find that's it's like never really useful. Like in the Saint Expedition where you need to kill a bunch of creatures, you start with the gun, but I ended up using an electric spear instead. So it's like even in a challenge where the whole point is to kill creatures with this weapon, I didn't find it very effective. Yeah, for the pearl is good for movement, but that's not a weapon, is it? Just stayed in mod. Yeah, it feels like a modded item. Like, why is this in the game? There's 2 items missing from this list. Hold up. Bam. So here's some items that weren't on the list for some reason, but I just added them in this order. So jellyfish. It's okay. I'm kind of the jellyfish person, right? I made a few videos about it. It's a very funny weapon. It's like surprisingly effective. Like you wouldn't really think a jellyfish is actually effective, but you can use it. However, it's only in like 2 regions, or no, it's only in 1 region, right? Is it just in Shoreline? I don't know if it's anywhere else than Shoreline. But if you want to use the jellyfish as a weapon, you need to go to Shoreline and you need to hold onto that 1 jellyfish, right? They're kind of, okay, from the videos, it kind of looks like jellyfish can actually be a very strong weapon. But what I don't include in that video is all of the failed attempts where I totally miss, or I stun myself, or, you know, all sorts of stuff can happen with a jellyfish. I tried to use it to kill a red lizard, and it took so many attempts, because, like, good luck trying to hit a red lizard who is, like, charging towards you very quickly with a small little jellyfish. And then once you stun it, you need to, like, get the jellyfish back and stun it again so that it doesn't wake up while you're, like, stabbing it, because it won't die that fast. I think it's higher than Singularity Bomb, though, because at least you can actually get it consistently and use it for a while. And it's also, like, it's a very easy way to kill vultures. If you want to kill vultures, this is a good way to do it, because it will stun them for a very long time. So these Lillipucks, I think they're called, are basically just like one-use spears that do a bit less damage, I think. I guess if you have no other option, they're nice, but they yeah, they should be like down here, maybe even lower. They're basically more food than a weapon. And the last one is also funny. This is actually a little bit more practical for at least one challenge. The Stygian Depths challenge for Saint. You need to get a bunch of points. This is a good way to get points. Because you can kill like Meros vultures with it. However, once again, extremely situational. I'm probably better than the spears though, because they have such a huge AoE. You know, honestly, these are so impractical, they're probably lower. Here. I've never even thought about using this as a weapon, and I've actually used this a handful of times at least. Although I don't think I've ever used it in like a real campaign. Hate explosions to kill Artificer. Yeah, they're very powerful. They're like a grenade, but actually like kind of easier to use, but of course hard to get. I think that's it for this. If you had like unlimited access to the item, then this list would look very different. But spears are only the highest because you can always easily get them and they work. You know, they're effective. Whereas every other item, it might be more effective than a spear, but it's just harder to get, or only in one region. Or not reusable, you know. Okay, this is not the last tier list. There's one more. The most important one. I searched up random tier list and this was one of them. So, like this, maybe. These are all S. Yeah, I mean, I guess I did put rocks. I mean, I put them in H here. Half sphere? You mean this one? Actually, this one's probably higher. Like, practically, it's easier to see because it sticks up. My Facebook. Yeah, I think that's right. This one's kind of weird shapes. This one's very average. These ones are funny. This one is easier to see, so it's actually like kind of practical. Please, I see like holding any of these. All right, I think that's it. I think that's the last one. I mean, I'm confident that it's the last one. Actually, there's not anything else other than this. If you want a overview for all of the tier lists so far. Here's the slug cats. Remember, all of these are personal preference. How much do I like the character? So, you know, feel free to not to disagree. Survivor S tier. Look, okay. Survivor's pretty high, right? Hunter's a bit low. I don't like the time limit in casual play. When you have to increase your karma to get the regates, but you're just kind of wasting cycles. I really don't like that. I feel like you kind of have to play perfectly if you want enough time. Creatures ranked by how easy I could beat them in a fight. That I would lose to most of them. And I mean, a lot of these are pretty close. Like I like both these characters. I don't know how to feel about like both of these like right next to each other. Maybe Hunter could be right here. Maybe Spearmaster should be higher. I don't know. These are kind of flexible. These regions. And then creatures, which is quite large. These guys don't really count. They're not really creatures. They're just kind of like, you know, events. It's just way worse than Gourmand. Well, I don't have another tier, so they're gonna be next to each other. Do I need to make another tier list stream? No, I don't think so. This is enough. This is enough Rain World. Tier lists. Shelters tier list. Do I need to create a rooms tier list? Every single room in the game. Here's weapons. And then the most important one. But all right, that's that. I feel like I could look back at these in like a week and I'd feel different about it. Like, why is this so high, or why did I put that there? You know, tier list. I think Slugcat, creatures, regions, weapons, rock, or maybe rock is the very first one, depending on if you want to be funny. Speedrun categories. Actually, that's a good one to do. Speedrun categories. But there's so many that I haven't even run at all. It'd kind of be inconclusive. Like Hunter would not be included at all. Neither would this one. Wiki page. Okay, that's enough of this. These are enough tier lists for now. So yeah. Thanks everyone for joining in. I did want to prioritize my own feeling about these things more in the tier list because, you know, I want it to be more unique. I could try to balance everything out, so it'd be like, okay, how good is this, or try to use some sort of objective scale. Like how like I could have made a tier list for like how dangerous are these creatures, but then like, you know, who's gonna be at the top? You know, the red centipede, red lizard, you know. It's like personal preference makes it actually more unique instead of just and also makes people more mad when their favorite thing is ranked in D tier and then they can argue about it. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this. I will. Oh, it's close to the end of the year, so next stream will. Yeah, next stream will be in exactly 1 year. I don't know if I'll do Spearmaster again. Maybe I'll just do more Monk and Saint for a bit. Those are nice speedruns. I probably need to take more of a break from Sphere Master. Although that depends on how I feel. Yeah, I can't see. I think this is totally fine. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. See ya.